Yeah, man.
That's hot shit right there, man.
So what we gonna do? We gonna dub.
News networks are not even getting clicks like that. So this shows like there's an opportunity for this, what we're doing here on this show.
Look up something in back check, kind of like cross reference.
Yeah, I should put the.
Hey, look that shit up. That's the name of your show.
Yeah,
that's right. What really drew me in.
Remember, we want you to be an activist, and don't take our word for it. Look that shit up. Pulley.
Looks like we got us another hit.
Yep. EUX. I'm dyslexic. The King Chuck ENTDEUX. That's the backup page. Please check us out there. Help us out a lot. You know, like, share, and subscribe. Going. Hope I don't get in trouble for playing that last video. I probably shouldn't have played that shit. I'm always testing the damn waters, bro. That shit gonna get me.
You are now
Who and what are we gonna complain about tonight?
You are now
This is copyright.gov, U.S. Copyright Office. More information on fair use. Fair use is a legal doctrine that promotes freedom of expression by permitting the unlicensed use of copyright-protected works in certain circumstances. Section 107 of the Copyright Act provides the statutory framework for determining whether something is a fair use and identifies certain types of uses such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research as examples of activities that may qualify as fair use. Section 107 calls for consideration of the following 4 factors in evaluating a question of fair use: purpose and character of the use, including whether the use of the commercial nature or is for nonprofit educational purposes, nature of the copyrighted work, amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole, effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyright work. Okay, so anything I use for you guys, hit me up if you want me to remove it, edit it, or whatever. Nothing is used to infringe on anybody's intellectual property. I don't intend on doing that, and I don't intend on profiting from anyone's intellectual property. So I'm glad to edit or delete anything that's any of my videos that I've used of anybody. So that's it.
Good evening, my little one. I shall make you psychotic.
Mommy, what does psychotic mean?
Back and forth, and you know I'm swinging bows. I'm about to change course, go home and changing clothes. I'm looking at this bitch, it seems like she's saying no. I'ma hit the streets, though I'm supposed to be laying low. I'm following the buzz, never know which way it go. Keep on bringing heat, cause the G.O.D. say it so. Sailing on the beat, so you can't chop and play it so. She got me for a piece, now I'm about to pay the hoe. Stop smoking, switching sweets, why I gotta take a toke. Now I got a little guac, now I gotta make it grow. Keep on thinking we some hee-haw, ma and pa folks. We gon' hit you I'm sitting sideways. Now get out of my way or I'ma hit your Hyundai. Take a lick on my dick if you don't like what I say. I'm the shit with the shit, so we gon' do this my way. And we just getting started, so go on, say your grace. I'ma eat you rappers, though I won't enjoy the taste. I'm closing your estates while you falling on the stakes. I'm rolling on the bass while you rolling on the face. Sitting on the place, not knowing I'ma take your fast, slowing and it's fake. So I'm gonna wait, time will come, down will be done. I saw it and I said that it was great.
Mommy, what does psychotic mean?
I ain't feeling your side, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I ain't feeling your side, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'm digging your wife, she play my mic. She really so nice, I call her my light. I say we off light, cause we stay up all night. Bet you ain't know she to take it all tight. Tell her, bend it over, let me take a small bite. Been waiting since October, see that ass fall right. Looking around the room, see passport eyes. And adrenaline feeling like a NASCAR ride. When the people ask about this, your ass gon' lie. Cause the truth is you did what you do in your life. Can't nobody tell you what to do with your life. Girl, gon' turn it over cause I know what you like. It's hard in the color of the asphalt, right? Just lay back and wonder what the past was like. While you looking at your panties ripped in half, that's right. While you looking at your panties ripped in half, that's right. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I ain't feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. Let me tell you a little something about life. Win, lose or draw, I'm still taking your life. I mean, if you ever wanna fucking come in my sight, you scream like you never screamed in your life. Flip it on over, gon' do it like this. Not riding with a soldier, then you ride against it. Looking from the other side, make your stomach get sick. Every person's scheming, thinking he the one to get rich. Ever sit and really think what you would do with one wish? And if you knew afterward, you'd be sleeping with fish. Style will be done, here we come. Bearing gifts, these images make you wanna grab your crucifix. It's getting dark outside, no sleeping past 6. Not living in fear, cause that's really not it. If you owe me something, Nick, better give me my shit. If you owe me something, Nick, better give me my shit. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'ma get inside, I'ma get inside. I'm feeling my life, I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. Sliding on in, this is it, instant win. If hip hop broke from some fix it then. Take real life shit, go ahead and mix it in. Not just streets unless that's where you sleeping in. They hungry out there, that's why we eating in. Honestly, don't even let the church deacon in. Blasphemous if you think I'm speaking sin. Survival is a must for all the creatures in. If you feeling life's tough, then you probably need a fin. Have a sucker, popsicle or something, take it in. Sharp teeth, eat meat, origin involvement. Why the UFC give you more than a grin? Why you take a seat when the foraging begin? Why you gotta creep just horn in the wind? I'ma stop cause I'm just Al Goring with a pen. I'ma stop cause I'm just Al Goring with a pen. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. You sending black, and when the bottom of the ninth in this mag, you bleeds the cat's wax, send them back. got the la anxious side. Can't be telling nothing I ain't experienced. Kinda like selling a little fake deliverance. Full of malevolence, hitting up your residence. Taking care of his biz without leaving evidence. Claiming heaven sent, what the fuck is this? When I take a trip to the abyss and meet the beast, I'm coming back with it. That's gold words coming from a spectacular man that froze when he found out he had a black hole where his soul's supposed to be. That's no way to see eternity. Maybe you believe, but some achieve the predicate and still proceed to think evil deeds. Busting out the dust, these rough niggas is coming up in the rush to touch the black hole. Busting out the dust, these rough niggas is coming up in the rush to touch the black hole. Busting out the dust, these rough niggas is coming up in the rush to touch the black hole. Busting out the dust, these rough niggas is coming up in the rush to touch the black hole. Hit niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. You sending black and when the bottom of the ninth inning smack, he bleeds. The cat's whack, send him back. Cause he ain't suffered enough, hustled enough, scuffle and cuff his hand to a cop. Nothing discussed, cutting his nuts to his cock. Something to shot, a spark out your heart when you stop jogging in the park. And you meet a nigga dog that bites bark, buds spilling on the sidewalk. Staying in the light is smart despite staying on course, of course, cause the smell of death escapes and not a corpse is rough. Top half man and I'll be damned if that bottom half horse. Hush, lost souls rushing to touch the black hole, wishing to be dust, gagging and fuss, cause the demon face leaking pus. Busting out the dust, these rough niggas is coming up in a rush to touch the black hole. Busting out the dust, these rough niggas is coming up in a rush to touch the black hole. Busting out the dust, these rough niggas is coming up in a rush to touch the black hole. Busting out the dust, these rough niggas is coming up in a rush to touch the black hole. What can I say? Lay in my bed at night like it's a grave. Listen to the voices in my mind misbehave. Best to be glad that my mind is awake. Voices taking over days makes me afraid. Then I go to sleep cause the voices make me weak. If I reach out for the light, then I know they're gonna speak through mutilated teeth. I fumigated beef. I treat my lady sweet. Why do I gotta shriek in the night? Think I'm living right? My insomnia is bringing me to ride. Lunatic lyrical things to keep me from my dreams. I wake up and I scream. Reality to me ain't really what it seems. Imagine an old set scene when you woke up with a cold sweat scream. Roll over on the floor, now you know what death means. Busting out the dust, these rough niggas is coming up in a rush to touch the black hole. Busting out the dust, these rough niggas is coming up in a rush to touch the black hole. Busting out the dust, these rough niggas is coming up in a rush to touch the black hole. Busting out the dust, these rough niggas is coming up in a rush to touch the black hole. 86 niggas.
'86. Hey, how y'all doing out there? How y'all feel? Remember, we want you to be an activist. Don't take our word for it. Look that shit up, please. Man, I'm so sorry for being late. I have a lot of shit going on, and I probably lost half my damn panel as a result. But we're going to keep it moving because that's what we do here. The show must go on, and the show will go on. I might bullshit around a bit to try to give people a chance to come in here. Because I'm late, it throws everything off. Whenever I'm late, it throws the whole thing off. So maybe we'll get some people, maybe we won't. But I'm gonna give them some time to get in because I'm off time. I'm late. I'm like, what is it? I'm like an hour and a half late. So, you know, we'll see what happens. Anyways, I'm texting and shit. I'm still not together. Let me hear this.
If you listen, help, God. If you listen, help, God. If you listen, help.
That's pretty funny.
A little something. I mean, it ain't cornflakes, but you know, it's a little something. Curtis, y'all right, man? Why are you looking at me like that?
You in my bowl like it's yours.
I mean, share the will, Curtis. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we family, right? You know, we roommates, Curtis. Was mine yours? Was yours and mine?
It's funny you never share your cornflakes and bird seed with me. I'm the only one giving to you. That ain't fair. What's mine is yours.
Hey, Curtis don't like people in this food, man. He might hurt you. Man, me and Curtis go way back, man. He ain't gonna hurt me. Let me get back in this bowl, man. You ain't about to do that, right, Curtis?
This camera wasn't on. I'd have me some chicken tonight. Believe that.
What's up, Curtis, man?
That's pretty funny. I love that dude's voiceovers. They're so freaking nice. Like, it's perfect. I like animals. I always think that they'd be thinking and talking anyway. So it's so cool that he like gives them. Can't play that. People, they like to put that popular music in everything. It's really a this dude done tattooed the chick's name twice and then covered it up twice. No way. And then a third time. Oh, fourth time, that can't be real. No fucking way. That's not real.
Wolf gonna be what? What? That guy finna try now? This is crazy. Well, I got to start with the hand and she don't move my hand, but I swear to God. Ooh, I swear to God.
Crazy.
Oh, it's a rap. Oh, it's a rap. Roll that one time. Ooh, yeah. That one pilot ain't gonna believe it. I'm gonna try the other move. You gotta try to feel. She is not moving, but it's right. I'm gonna try that last day, bro. If she let me pull this out, it's over. You know, here we go. Ooh, she ain't doing that. Oh, well, she gonna help me. Boy, it's over.
That's hilarious, bro. It be like that. Definitely.
What in the Texas Tuesday on the Thursday do we have here? What in the Texas Tuesday on the Thursday do we have here? What?
I don't really get it, but whatever. What they say, books you need to know?
African. The destruction of black.
There goes the popular music again. So yeah, put that in there. Can't play it. I'm just bullshitting a bit, y'all. Bear with me. There's no sound to this. That's crazy. The chick was stuck in the car. She had a medical emergency, apparently, like passed out or something. And was just like floating through the intersection. And then people had to come and help. They had to break the window to get into the car to get to her. I ain't gonna lie, that kind of thing is scary as fuck. Like, I drive alone all the time, you know, shit could happen. We don't think about that. We're prepared for everything, right? But we're not prepared for ourselves to like pass out or something. You know what I mean? We're not prepared for that. We need somebody else in the car. There goes the music again. We're sending people to jail for life and not even batting an eyelid.
We are sending people to jail for life and not batting an eye about it.
Okay.
Know that they have a district attorney that is seriously prosecuting gangs and criminals, and that we are sending people to jail for life and not batting an eye about it.
Fulton County, ain't that the same place that Young Thug is in trouble at? So maybe that's what this has to do with it. Let's see. It says there will never be a shortage. I'm reading the comment under here. It says there will never be a shortage of black women willing to make a name for themselves by destroying black men. Let's argue. She's the Kamala Harris of Atlanta. Wow, I don't know who she is. I should know. She looks familiar, but I don't know who this chick is. I saw her the other day on another. She's going viral because I saw her just making faces on another meme. I don't know who this chick is. I ain't gonna lie. It says, I wouldn't be surprised if she killed Kevin Samuels. Wow. He sure would have flamed her. Bro, can you please write better, especially if you're being offensive. You would think. Wait, hold on. You would think she would focus some of her energy on the KKK, who was rampant in Georgia, but no. Young Thug better get a BBL and move to a new woman prison. He ain't going nowhere for a while. Yeah, I think that's the county, Fulton County. And no, that really is a thing though. I think how like what's happening with them that's why I covered that the other day because I think I covered that yesterday because I think it's important the Young Thug thing because it's like a setup, right? It's a setup for a lot of they're kids, a lot of them are kids and they're getting set up and extorted. Not to say that I'm sure these guys did some wrong stuff, but it's like, it's like the game is incentivizing them to do this stuff so they can get their clout, they make the money, they get the fame, they get the street cred. It's so sad. Let me read some more comments underneath this one. It says, I guarantee those Jack and Jill folks down there is excited to hear that. What does that mean? Another one, it says, they will always use us because we are so easily used. Another one, it says, you could easily not get involved with criminal activity either way. I think that's a fair comment. I don't know about easily, though. You don't know the streets. You could get caught up just by your cousin. It says, she is an elected official, just like female judge in DeKalb County. They are trying to give out 1 million years. You have to remember that their campaigns are funded by prison complex, which is big business. I think she said in Georgia. I can't see the rest of the comment. Yeah, man, that's what it is. That's what I mean. It's a racket. They're getting extorted one way or the other. The system is making gobs and gobs of cash off of these kids, like Young Thug and Gunna, freaking 6ix9ine, freaking Meek Mill. Jay-Z had to fight a case a little while ago. So, I mean, I don't know, man. It is what it is. Oh, she still looks good. That's Toni Braxton. I can see the age. We're about the same age, I think. We're getting up there, Toni Braxton. Somebody's dog. I've been seeing a lot of videos of big dogs getting at people's little dogs. And a lot of times it's the dog is not on a leash, like in this situation. And then sometimes the dog is on a leash, but the owner can't handle their dog. Damn, he's fucking her dog up. And that looked like a stray dog. It don't have no leash. Oh, is this the owner? Yep, there goes the owner. Didn't have the damn dog on the leash or whatever. And now the dog is fucking this lady's dog up. They're not handling this situation very well because that dog is getting fucked up this whole time. This whole time. If this dog make it out of this alive, I don't want to watch any more of this. Animals are sentient beings, I can feel their energy. What does it say here? There goes the popular music again. I wonder if people can be creative without using popular music. Stupid. You guys, I guess I'm going to start rolling into my shit. I'm going to give it a little bit more time. What is this one?
Banana. Can you say banana? Banana. Can you say banana? Banana. Good job. Okay. Next word is stand. Can you say stand? Stand. Good job. Good job. Next word is chair. Chair. Can you say chair? Chair. Good job, mommy. Good job. Next one is ride. Can you say ride? Ride? Ride. Good job, mommy. Okay, good job, Wyatt. Okay, Wyatt, this one's for you. Can you say bed? Bed?
No.
Good job. Good job.
That's how you do it. You use the psychology. And I think a lot of times parents really do not get this. Like, they're always trying to force the child to do this or force the child to do that or whatever. And like I be saying all the time, I think that humans are creative already off top, and humans aren't naturally lazy. Like, we want to create and do things, you know what I'm saying, all the time. But, there's a psychology with it, because sometimes, like, they want it to be fun, right? They want it to be entertaining. Humans got short attention spans, especially now, more and more. And so, we move on to the next thing. We don't focus. But, like I say, it's a psychology with it. If it's like Inception, right? You make them think it's their idea, and then, then that's when they embrace it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I don't know if you could call it like manipulation or whatever. Maybe you could, you know what I'm saying? But people like humans they're gonna voluntarily do things if you just open the door for them to be able to do it, if that makes any sense. And so what you do is you offer them creative things to do, you know what I'm saying? Things to do that's productive, that you feel are productive, and give them options, and they'll just choose one and they'll just do it. Or you just do things with them. That's another way you do it. You know what I mean? You can't just teach a child by just telling them to do stuff. You got to actually do things with them. They'll learn. They'll see you doing it. That's how they learn. More music. It says a Tesla crash. They've been advertising a lot of that. It seems like hating on the Tesla cars, but they do be malfunctioning. Having a system that's completely electric, like completely relying on electric, I don't think that's a good idea. I think the hybrid vehicles are a better idea for, because one thing is the problem with those damn computer systems, because it's all electrical. So then when the computer has a problem or the electric issues or something, then the car malfunctions, and that's dangerous. So those cars, I don't know what they have. I don't know enough about it to really just say, but if they don't already, they should have some kind of like override, in a way that the vehicle can run if the electrical completely shuts down. I don't think those cars do that. And I think if it electrically shuts down, you're fucked. And I've had a car that had electrical issues before, and it wasn't a Tesla. So I can see how electrical issues can be a thing, especially when the car is older, or maybe it was just a malfunction, when it was manufactured. Either way, that's scary as fuck. Goes the popular music again. I can only play so much. When she tells you her last man came every time in less than 3 minutes, and you're planning on lasting at least 4. Portrait of a black woman working from home, camera off, braids in progress. Okay. It says absolutely heartbreaking. Whatever that is, I don't think I want to see it. I guess I'm going to start rolling into my shit. Let me open this up. It's 1 a.m. It's what it is. Let's play this Democracy Now. So that's what I was planning on starting with anyways. Just to get us going. Hopefully we could get some people in here. Oh. Pip.
Purdue Pharma, the maker. Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Democratic Senator Joe Manchin joined with Senate Republican Wednesday to block a bill to pass the Women's Health Protection Act, which would have preserved federal abortion rights even if the Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade. President Biden criticized opponents of the legislation, saying their votes run, quote, counter to the will of the majority of the American people, unquote. Prior to the vote, Democratic Senator Jackie Rosen of Nevada urged her colleagues to support the bill.
We're not living in a hypothetical anymore. We are staring a post-Roe world in the face, and the time to act is now. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle have also made it clear. If they regain control of this chamber, they will pass a national ban on abortion rights, and they may go even further. I urge every senator who cares about women, who cares about women's health, who cares about women's autonomy and their rights, I urge them all to join me in voting to pass the Women's Health Protection Act.
That was Democratic Senator Jackie Rosen of Nevada. The Supreme Court's 9 justices plan to privately meet today for the first time since last week's publication of a leaked draft opinion showing the court is poised to overturn Roe v. Wade. Palestinians are holding a state funeral in Ramallah for Al Jazeera reporter Shireen Abu Akleh, a day after she was fatally shot in the head while covering an Israeli military raid on a refugee camp in Jenin in the occupied West Bank. Witnesses, including other journalists at Al Jazeera, said she was shot dead by Israeli forces. At the time of her death, she was wearing a helmet and a vest marked press. Shireen Abu Akleh, who was a U.S. citizen, had worked at Al Jazeera for a quarter of a century and was one of the best-known television journalists in Palestine and the Arab world. Israel initially claimed she may have been shot by a Palestinian gunman, but later said it was unclear who shot her.
Unclear who shot her. That means that, you know who shot her. We covered a bit of this, I think, yesterday, too. This fucking story is so horrible, and it's indicative of what they do. And I wish people was more aware of this. And this is a fucking war crime, bro. This is like Geneva Convention. This is stuff that United States invades countries over. They're not going to do it to them, though.
Palestinian authorities accused Israel of committing the, quote, crime of execution and rejected an offer from Israel to carry out a joint probe into her death. On Wednesday, Al-Aslame, the head of the Palestinian Media Association, spoke out against the killing of Shireen Abu Akleh and other Palestinian journalists.
Our protest today confirms that the occupation must be pursued. Pursue the Israeli leaders and war criminals who were involved in these crimes, the crimes which led to the death of those journalists, and their last was the journalist Shireen Abu Akleh.
We'll have more on this story after headlines. We'll speak to Columbia University professor Rashid Khalidi.
They just be popping journalists, and they, like, how? What the fuck? Like, who does this? And how do they get away with it? Time and time again. It's happening in Mexico too. I mean, we can't just point fingers at Israel. You know what I'm saying? But still, this situation specifically, how does it continue to happen? You know what I'm saying? Those press people are smart enough to not be in between fire and get in between live fire. They've been a journalist, they said, for 25 years. You know what I'm saying? Come on, they know the thing. So it sounds to me like the chick was she was either filming something that they didn't want her to film, or she had wrote a story that they didn't want her to write, recently or in the past. And they identified her and popped her. And that's not cool.
The Senate's expected to move quickly to approve $40 billion in new military and economic assistance to Ukraine. The massive spending package was passed Tuesday with little debate by the House, with the entire Democratic caucus supporting it. Senator Minority Leader Mitch McConnell says he expects the Senate to approve the aid as soon as possible. On Wednesday, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev accused the United States of waging a proxy war against Russia, saying the funding bill was part of a U.S. effort to, quote, deal a serious defeat to our country, unquote. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, authorities in the Russian-occupied region of Kherson have said they plan to ask...
They rolled right over that story of Russia claiming that the U.S. is staging a proxy war. And then they rolled right into a Ukraine story. And I did watch this earlier, but I don't really remember exactly this clip. But I guarantee you it's a clip to try to make Russia look bad.
ask Russia to annex the area. The request came from an official who was put in charge of the region by Moscow in April. Meanwhile, Ukraine has announced it'll put a captured 21-year-old Russian soldier on trial for war crimes. Ukrainian authorities say he fatally shot an unarmed man in the head in the village of Sumy. Meanwhile, a top UN official in Ukraine, Matilda Bogner, has called on both Russia and Ukraine to probe possible war crimes by its forces, including the use of schools as military bases and the mistreatment of prisoners of war. In other news from the region, Finland's president and prime minister have announced their support for Finland to join NATO, ending decades of neutrality. Finland shares an 830-mile border with Russia. Russia responded to the news by threatening to take retaliatory steps in order to stop what it called threats to its national security.
I wish you guys could try to imagine how serious this is. And you know what I'm saying? This sounds like, when I was listening to this earlier, it sounds like the buildup before World War I and before World War II, because the European nations was like, they smelled war on the horizon, and all the different countries started building their militaries and making alliances and so forth and so on. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I see happening right now. People are building their nuclear forces, they're building their militaries, and then you got countries that were neutral forever, like Finland, joining NATO. What the fuck?
Sweden's also expected to seek NATO membership soon.
And Sweden? These are neutral ass countries and have been historically. I want to say Finland and Sweden was neutral in World War I and World War II.
A new report by the U.S. Interior Department has documented the deaths of 500 indigenous children at Indian boarding schools run or supported by the federal government in the U.S., but the actual death toll is believed to be far higher. The report also located 53 burial sites at former schools. The report marks the first time the agencies documented some of the dark history at the schools, known for their brutal assimilation practices, forcing students to change their clothing, language, and culture. The report was ordered by Interior Secretary Deb Haaland, who is a member of the Laguna Pueblo and whose grandparents were forced to attend boarding school at the age of 8. Haaland spoke on Wednesday.
I come from ancestors who endured the horrors of the Indian boarding school assimilation policies carried out by the same department that I now lead. This department was responsible for operating what we now know to be 408 federal boarding schools across 37 states or then territories, including 21 schools in Alaska and 7 schools in Hawaii. Now we are uniquely positioned to assist in the effort to recover the dark history of these institutions that have haunted our families for too long.
Deb Haaland.
It sounds really good, but something is unsettling about a Native American being the U.S. Interior Secretary, because the whole idea of the Department of U.S. Interior Secretary is anti-Native American. So it just makes my brain hurt.
And is the first Native American cabinet member in U.S. history. The World Meteorological Organization has warned there's a 50% chance average global temperatures will temporarily reach 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels at some point in the next 5 years. Climate negotiators have long aimed to keep global warming at or under the threshold, which is equivalent of 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit. In northern New Mexico, a massive wildfire has now burned 237,000 acres. The fire grew by 50 square miles between Tuesday and Wednesday. Meanwhile, in California, 20 homes burned down in the city of Laguna Niguel in Orange County. Both New Mexico and California are experiencing a record-setting drought. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is reporting nearly 108,000 people died of drug overdoses in the United States last year, a 50% jump over 2019. The CDC said about 2/3 of the deaths involved fentanyl or other synthetic opioids.
I think, like I pointed out before in a previous show, I think a lot of these overdoses are also suicides. You know what I mean? They're called overdoses, but I think some of these, a good number of them, are actual suicides.
In related news, the Guggenheim Museum in New York and the National Gallery in London have become the latest cultural institutions to remove the Sackler name from rooms at their museums. The billionaire family founded Purdue Pharma, the maker of OxyContin, a highly addictive drug at the center of the opioid epidemic.
Those people should be held accountable criminally.
The CDC has also found gun deaths in the United States reached a new high during the first year of the pandemic. According to the CDC, more than 45,000 people in the United States died in gun-related incidents in 2020. That's a 35% increase over the previous year. House lawmakers have announced plans to hold a hearing on the growing shortage of baby formula in the United States. Analysts say over 40% of baby formula products are now out of stock, with some brands nearly impossible to buy. The shortage is due in part to the closing of a manufacturing plant in Michigan owned by Abbott Nutrition, the nation's largest baby formula manufacturer. The plant was shut down in February over concerns about bacterial contamination following the deaths of 2 babies. A former worker at the plant had warned the Food and Drug Administration about problems at the plant in October, months before the babies died, but the FDA did not interview the whistleblower until December and did not inspect the plant until the end of January. The whistleblower had been fired by Abbott after raising concerns internally about safety issues at the plant. In Florida, a state judge has blocked an effort by Governor Ron DeSantis and Republican lawmakers to remake Florida's congressional map in a way that critics say is designed to curtail Black political power in the state. State Judge J. Lane Smith, who was appointed by DeSantis 2 years ago, criticized the map, saying it, quote, diminishes the ability of African Americans to elect candidates of their choice. The state of Arizona has executed Clarence Dixon, a blind 66-year-old man who his lawyers say suffered from paranoid schizophrenia and was in declining health. Witnesses said authorities had to wipe up a fair amount of blood after officials struggled to inject lethal drugs into him.
It's like another thing that's happening. Well, the previous story was the gerrymandering, and I think a lot of people don't really understand that at all. So, like, but that's happening. It happens on both sides, but this is what makes the democracy not very democratic. You know what I'm saying? And then the other thing is, like I say, I feel like we're going backwards. With these executions is another example of that, because they were kind of on their way out and now they're coming back more and more.
It was the first execution in Arizona in 8 years. Dixon was convicted of murdering a student in 1978, but he always proclaimed his innocence. In Hong Kong, authorities Tuesday arrested.
I don't really believe in capital punishment. I feel like if you do kill someone for a crime, then you need to be 100% sure that they're guilty. You know what I'm saying? And I don't trust our legal system to be able to determine that.
Cardinal Joseph Zen, a 90-year-old retired Roman Catholic bishop. Zen is a longtime critic of the Chinese government. He was arrested along with 3 other trustees of a fund that provided legal and financial help to protesters arrested in 2019. All 4 have been released on bail. And North Korea has declared a severe national emergency after COVID-19 was detected in the capital, Pyongyang, for the first time. North Korea closed its borders over 2 years ago and had not reported any COVID cases until today. Authorities have ordered lockdowns across the country. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now! Democracy.
It's like COVID is coming back. I'm seeing more people wearing masks more and more out here in Houston. So I don't know. It's like the hysteria related to COVID is kind of coming back around. I think it's going to gear up too as we go into the winter. They just want to keep this thing rolling. Or maybe it just is a thing that just keeps rolling. You know what? I think that we're going to be dealing with it forever, but I just think that the reactions to it is not proper. What's up, Deuce? How you feel, man?
Shit, I'm pretty good, bro. How about yourself, man? A little hot. Been working out here, but back in the truck now, so
That's what's up. I want to get into this Vatican secrets stuff. We're almost at an hour, so I want to get into the meat of the show. We're going to cover this, and then I'll probably try not to spend too much time on this because this is kind of for fun, and then the heavy stuff is going to come after that. So I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it's a 29-minute video. But I'm not going to play all this. I'm just going to kind of skip through it a bit. It's got some parts that I think are interesting to talk about. So, but did y'all know I think I covered it a bit in a previous video, but did y'all know that the Vatican has like a vault underneath it with it's basically all the history, like all the things, like if you think of the Vatican as a business, you know what I'm saying? These are their records, you know what I'm saying? And they also have acquired, data related to like historical events.
Yeah.
And it's huge and it's secret and nobody can really go down there, like very few people. She's going to talk about it in this video and explain it. But like, I think it's an interesting idea. Like, what the hell do they have down there, and why are they keeping it secret? And I think that a lot of that data belongs to the people, you know what I'm saying? Because some of that information, I'm sure, could change the way people like look at the world and make their world better because they understand the world better. Let me play some
They
of
don't want
this.
that, bro.
I know. I wonder what they have in there. That's what I'm gonna be asking throughout this, because that's what the whole thing is like. What do they have in there? I wonder.
Less
I wonder
area
if the
than
Pope
New
is
York
allowed in
Central
there.
Park.
And
Vatican
and I think it's on a special location too, like. And then the thing is underground, like it's so much symbolism. And then what I was saying in the other video was, why do the Pope, why do so many people care anyways? How do they have so much power? Like, where, and then it's like, how much power do they have? How much influence do they have? And like the major world events that happen and shit, like, did these popes, make decisions related to the things that has happened? And then if that's the question, and if the answer is yes, then you have to wonder, the world in the state that it's in today, how much did the Catholic Church have to do with it? You know what I mean? And then you look around and you see how all the shit's so fucked up, And like, is this how they wanted it to be? Let me play some more.
City is the smallest country on Earth. It covers less area than New York Central Park. If you were to walk from one side to the other, barely half a mile, you might stroll beneath the mighty columns of the iconic St. Peter's Square, gaze upon the Sistine Chapel, St. Peter's Basilica, or the Apostolic Palace, the architectural majesty of one of humanity's most historically significant cities. And yet, what is most significant historically is perhaps not what stands on top of the earth, but what lies beneath it. There, in a fortress-like bunker, closed to the public and protected by armed guards, lies an incredible 53 miles of shelving, more than 100 times the distance from one side of Vatican City to the other, dug deep into the earth. On these shelves sit 12 centuries worth of documents, an unmatched history not just of the Catholic Church, but of the world as we know it. This is the Vatican Secret Archive, and hidden within it are the original recordings of some of history's most important and well-known events. There are some, however, who say that this is not all that is hidden there. Some believe that deep beneath the Vatican is a different kind of history, one of secret powers, apocalyptic prophecies, and perhaps even extraterrestrials. Before we start,
Apocalyptic, maybe extraterrestrials. It's like, I wonder what the hell do they have in there? Like, what the hell do they have in there? Because it does exist, so that's real. But this video is probably mostly a lot of speculation. Like, she does give facts, but it's like, anyways, I'm gonna play some more.
as the first century, the Catholic Church was already preserving records of its operations.
These records were entrusted to the care and ownership of the earliest popes, traveling with them wherever they went, and being passed to their successors when they died. As the religion and its influence spread, the growing size of the records made this.
I ain't gonna lie, that's beautiful as hell. Like, and to be in that building right there, it's gonna definitely feel some kind of way. And then it's like the columns, and it's about like the curves, and then you know what I'm saying, the masonry. It's gonna have a whole vibe. It's gonna have a whole vibration. The way the lights, the sun shines through the windows. It's beautiful.
Untenable, and the church began to store them at the Pope's official residence. By the 11th century, archives were being kept in at least 3 different locations: St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City, as well as the Lateran and the Palatine Palace nearby in Rome. Of course, the Middle Ages were a time of constant conflict across Europe, and on more than one occasion, the locations housing these Vatican records were sacked, resulting in the loss of large portions of the archives. In 1404, the Vatican itself was sacked, and Pope Innocent VII was forced to flee the city, while official Vatican documents from more than 1,000 years of history were thrown into the streets like trash.
Thrown into the streets like trash. It's funny, you know, her point of view is very sympathetic, and it's like the Vatican records were thrown in the streets like trash. That I wonder about that, because thrown in the street, people was probably digging through that shit, took some home or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I wonder about that, because thrown in the street like trash. I think that a lot of the people would be interested, but then too, how many people could read? Whatever.
Recognizing that what was left was of paramount importance to the Church, not to mention human history, the Vatican began to construct plans to keep all of their records in one secure central location. Finally, in 1612, Pope Paul V ordered that all church records be collected and stored in the safest place possible, directly under the Vatican. This became officially known as the Archivum Secretum Apostolicum Vaticanum, the Vatican Secret Archive, and beneath Vatican City, it has laid ever since. For many centuries, the machinations of the Catholic Church have shaped the culture and politics of the world. What this means is that within the Vatican Secret Archive are the original records of some of history's foundational moments. In effect, not just the story of the Church, but of humanity itself. For example, the archives hold the official copy of the papal decree splitting the New World in 1493, after it was supposedly discovered by Christopher Columbus. And
That's some super interesting shit. Like, that's some shit I would love to see.
Decree splitting the New World in 1493.
The decree. So, and this is what I'm always curious about when I be talking about the conquest of the Americas and shit. It's like somebody had to give permission. Was it the Catholic Church?
History's foundational moments. In effect, not just the story of the Church, but of humanity itself. For example, the archives hold the official copy of the papal decree splitting the New World in 1493, after it was supposedly discovered by Christopher Columbus. And by the way, we have an entire video showing much evidence that ancient African civilizations discovered America way before Columbus or the Scandinavians.
Well, duh.
You can click the top right corner to watch it. The Intercaetera, as it was titled, gave Spain control of everything 100 leagues away from the Azores and Cape Verde, and Portugal the rest. The reason why today Brazil speaks Portuguese, while the rest of South America speaks Spanish.
Interesting stuff right there. It's like, so like the church chopped that up and decided who got what.
There is the original copy of the infamous Decet Romanum Pontificum, the document which excommunicated Martin Luther in 1521. After Luther published his 95 Theses, a work critical of the Catholic Church, the Vatican gave him 60 days to recant his condemnation. Luther publicly burned his copy of the warning and was subsequently kicked out of the church, sparking the Protestant Reformation. Similarly, the archives house the letter sent to the Pope in 1530 by English noblemen, clergy, and even the Archbishop of Canterbury, asking that King Henry VIII be allowed to divorce his wife, Catherine of Aragon, so that he might marry Anne Boleyn. Written on an enormous 3-foot wide parchment, the letter promised extreme measures if the Pope did not heed their request. Of course, the Pope rejected the request, triggering a break with the Church of England and the English Reformation. Elsewhere, there are minutes from the 1633 trial in which Galileo was tried as a heretic for arguing that the earth revolves around the sun and not the other way around, an incredible moment in the history of religion versus science. Similarly, the minutes from the trial against the Knights Templar were discovered amongst the archives in 2001, after having been lost for centuries due to an archival mistake. In the early 14th century, and at the peak of their prodigious power, the Knights Templar had been accused of heresy and blasphemous behavior during the Crusades. Many were severely punished, even burned alive. However, as the discovered documents showed, the Pope actually absolved the group of blasphemy in 1308, totally changing the historical memory of the group and their relationship with the brutality of the Catholic Church. There are some who believe the Knights Templar trial is not the only thing in the Vatican's secret archive which has been misplaced, perhaps even intentionally hidden. Some
Like a good way to hide some shit is by misfiling it. You know what I'm saying? And one of the videos I played earlier, I think it was like last week, and the guy said he was roaming around in like the FBI, CIA secret vault, and he found some stuff that was out of place. And he said that it was some stuff that he wasn't supposed to find. And it's like I said, I think, because I've been in like libraries, I fuck with libraries. So that's why the librarians are always, and then people are so, if you read books a lot, and you fuck with libraries, then you know that like you want to put the book back, you know what I'm saying, where you got it. You know what I mean? Like it's so rude not to do that. Or you leave it, you put it in the place where for the people to put it back. Worst thing you can do is put the book back in the wrong place. It might be lost forever now.
suggests that somewhere in the archives is the original copy of a correspondence between St. Paul and the Roman Emperor Nero from the 1st century, which either confirms or rebuffs the existence of Jesus Christ. Particularly, if this correspondence confirms the existence of Jesus, why keep it hidden? Others suggest that hidden among the archives are the cross Jesus was crucified on and the crown of thorns he wore.
Yeah, that's interesting. But the part about, like she said, if they have evidence of Jesus, then why don't they let that out?
Existence of Jesus Christ. Particularly, if this correspondence confirms the existence of Jesus, why keep it hidden? Others suggest that hidden among the archives are the cross Jesus was crucified on and the crown of thorns he wore, the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, a collection of those great historical artifacts thought to be lost forever. But that's just the point. What we know is in the Vatican's secret archive. What has been confirmed by the Vatican itself is incredible, a monumental treasure trove of world history. But perhaps even more interesting are the things that the archives are said to house, which are unconfirmed. Skeptics say that the Vatican's secret archive is anything more than it seems. That is, anything more than the Vatican is willing to officially admit, are apt to point out that the secret part of the name actually comes from a mistranslation of the Latin word secretum, which in reality means something closer to private. These skeptics assert that the Vatican's secret archive does not imply mystery, but rather that it is simply the Vatican's private records, the same as would be kept by any organization or company. In fact, the Vatican itself was so eager to make this clear that in 2019 they officially changed the name from the Vatican Secret Archive to the Vatican Apostolic Archive. There is only one problem. Regardless of the name of the translation, the archives are a secret. Until 1881, None but the highest level church officials had any access to the archives at all. That year, Pope Leo XIII opened the archives to select researchers, a policy which his successors have continued ever since. Except, you can't just walk in and start looking around. First, all entrants must be carefully accredited scholars. No journalists, students, or amateur historians allowed. Once accreditation is received and the scholars make it inside, past the armed guards, browsing is not permitted. Instead, researchers can request up to 3 folders per day. These folders are not cataloged or organized, so they could contain anything. This means it could be years before researchers stumble upon anything of note. Worse still, credentials must be renewed every 6 months and can be revoked by the church at any time, meaning that if a researcher did happen to stumble upon something earth-shattering, their access could be quickly revoked. That the Vatican holds their secrets tightly, there can be no doubt. In fact, they showed this blatantly for the world to see in 2020, not 1 year after they took secret out of the name. After considerable pressure from Jewish and human rights groups, the Vatican agreed to release documents pertaining to the reign of Pope Pius XII during the Second World War. Many had criticized Pope Pius for first
Really,
failing
dude?
to speak out against Mussolini's racial.
What do you say? What's up, Doc?
I was making a turn and a car pulled out in front of me that was supposed to be yelling.
Yeah. They're talking about freaking the Pope during the time of World War II. And it's like, how much did they have?
Holy
Pope,
smokes. This
what did
dude
they have?
rolled up. Oh man, he dead.
What happened?
This truck rolled over. The body of the truck driver is laying on the highway.
Damn, what? It's on the other side of the freeway. You're driving by. You saw.
Nah, it's right. I'm right here on the frontage road, looking
Oh,
at it. Yeah, his body is laying. Looked like he was thrown from the cab of the truck.
so this probably just happened.
Yep, there's one police officer there.
Damn, that's fucked up. Hopefully he's okay.
I don't know, brother.
Campaign.
He's covered in a white sheet. I don't think he's okay.
Oh, damn. R.I.P.
Then failing to condemn the Holocaust as a whole, and perhaps even actively collaborating with Nazis. The question on everyone's mind was, as the Nazis were rounding up Rome's Jews, what was the Pope saying behind the scenes? Asserting that the Church is not afraid of history, the Vatican released a handful of documents related to Pope Pius. Unfortunately, it was far from the comprehensive collection they had promised. What they released looked more like a public image campaign than an attempt to bring history to light, leading to heavy and ultimately ignored criticism. And that's just it. When it comes to their archives, the Vatican guards their secrets closely, no matter the public pressure or what these secrets could mean for the world. Of course, this begs the question, what other secrets might they be hiding? In 1750, archaeologists discovered a mysterious book deep within the Tomb of Solomon in Jerusalem. It was inscribed with the year 1522, though those who examined it believed it was a copy of an older source, perhaps from the 1200s, perhaps even from an oral source much older than that. But what truly shocked those who saw it was not the book's date, but its contents. Written on the pages within were instructions on how to make magic talismans and amulets, how to cast magic spells and summon demons. Most dramatically, the book described how to summon the devil by constructing a magic circle and performing a ritual involving the sacrifice of a baby lamb, at which point one could make a deal with the devil.
Why would you want to do that?
Intriguingly, the author of the book was allegedly one Honorius of Thebes, an apocryphal figure who was said to have been possessed by the devil. The mysterious book was called the Grand Grimoire. In the 18th century, grimoires, a word for a textbook of the occult, gained a popularity in France. Accordingly, copies of the Grand Grimoire said to be the most powerful of all grimoires, began to spread across the country and across the world to French colonies. There, the Grand Grimoire was called Le Dragon Rouge, the Red Dragon, calling to mind the biblical words of Revelation chapter 12. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. Yet, despite the alleged power of the Grand Grimoire and the many copies spread across the world, none reported having summoned the devil, and the book's popularity faded into memory. Perhaps then the conclusion is that the Grand Grimoire was nothing but a hoax. Some offer a different explanation. They say the Grand Grimoire is not a hoax, but rather the commercialized copy spread around the world represent an edited version of the work, its true power censored out, and that somewhere the original, unaltered copy remains. Except it's not somewhere. We know where the original copy of the Grand Grimoire is. That's right. According to the Vatican, it is stored in their secret archives. Could the Vatican really have access to a book of magic spells or even the ability to conjure the devil? And if so, what other powers might they have? In 1972, a bizarre headline.
Yeah. What other information do they have? Like, I don't know about the summoning the devil shit, but the idea of the Vatican keeping like freaking technology a secret, I can totally see that.
Line appeared in an Italian magazine called La Domenica del Corriere. It read, "A machine that photographs the past has finally been invented." The article gave the account of a Catholic priest by the name of Father Pellegrino Ernetti.
That's so interesting, man.
Who asserted that hidden deep within the Vatican secret archives was a device which allowed its user to see and hear events from the past.
A device that helps you see and hear events from the past. That's so cool. The idea of that. Like, imagine, like, you know, you turn on your TV or something and you can just watch like a historical event. Man, for a person like me who's like I'm an anthropologist, which is kind of historian, fucking that would be
Not a time machine which sent a person back in time, but rather a sort of
What'd you say? Hold on.
Say, I can see women now. I'm gonna catch that motherfucker.
Yep. I know what he was doing.
time viewer which brought the past into the present. A device which could tune into specific events of the past and display them on a screen, like some sort of time-traveling television. The device was called the chronovisor, and with it, Ernetti asserted, he had been able to see the last days of the life of Jesus and other biblical moments, like the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah and the creation of the 10 Commandments. Most astonishingly, the article included a photograph of the face of Jesus at the moment of crucifixion, which Ernetti had purportedly taken using the device. Proof, it seemed, of the chronovisor's existence and function. We made a video on this topic, and you can click the link in the top right corner or in the comments to watch it. For a while, the article caused a stir in the religious and scientific communities.
Okay. That's enough. What do y'all think about it? Let me see. I wonder if they got good comments on this one. Excuse me. I need to eat. One of the comments, it says, "Let's raid the Vatican instead of Area 51. Do it for humanity." Another comment, it says, "Every bit of knowledge should be digitized and put into a virtual library where people can go and read it. Humanity's history belongs to everyone. It's all of our story." I agree with that comment completely. Let me read some more. It says, "He who controls history controls the future." Another comment, it says, "I would love to know who gave them the right to keep away our world history and our real truth of the earth." And of us. We deserve to know and deserve to be able to read those books and to truly know where we came from and what's really out there. Wow, that was hard to read. Megs 301. Let me read some more. It says no entities of or government organizations has rights to keep knowledge as classified. All libraries should be made fully public. Another comment, it says if they have to be locked away and also guarded by armed guards, you have to wonder what sort of information are they hiding? What don't they want the people to know? Dun dun dun. It says every single document there should be scanned and released to the world. Somebody already made that comment, buddy. Another one, it says, I believe that the burning of the Library of Alexandria was a false flag and that the most precious books, documents, and artifacts were relocated to the Vatican archives and that only the tax documents and census forms were left behind. Just a thought. Ooh, that's interesting. I've never heard that. That is an interesting idea. I always think about the burning of the Library of Alexandria. What was lost and what wasn't? What did any of it get relocated? I'm gonna read some comments underneath that comment. It says, that's interesting and makes a lot of sense. It was Romans who burned the Library of Alexandria. The Roman Catholic Church was also created to oppress and keep the rest of us subdued after the burning. The Abrahamic religions had not caught on quite yet at this point of history. Somebody says, I agree, there's no way they threw away or burned anything without duplicating it anyways. Somebody says, the content of Alexandria Library predated the Vatican's. Okay. Another person says, the Library of Alexandria never had a fire. It was a small tool shed out back or to the side. It was a false flag. Man, and when you think about false flags, you think about them being current. You imagine it being false flags all the way back. I never thought of that till now. Oh, man. Let me read one more comment. It says, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see the real you or what you have been conditioned to believe is you? The two are so different. One is an infinite consciousness capable of being and creating whatever it chooses. The other is an illusion imprisoned by its own perceived and programmed limitations. Goodness gracious. Can I copy this? This is a great comment. Okay. Posted it. Kyle Good. 1 year ago. It's got 647 likes underneath this video. That's a very, very great comment right there. He says, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see the real you or what you have been conditioned to believe is you? The two are so different. One is an infinite consciousness capable of being and creating whatever it chooses. The other is an illusion imprisoned by its own perceived and programmed limitations. That's great. Wow. I think that's 100% true. And that's kind of like what the Matrix is. It's a program, right? It's a program. So you're being programmed to perceive yourself in a certain way. Like you're supposed to be a cog in the machine. You're supposed to just keep your head down and don't make waves. You're supposed to just go to work and get a job and, buy a house, have a family with a dog, with 2 kids, 2.5 kids, or whatever. All of this is a program. Get married, get the ring, have a wedding. All of this is programming. It benefits the state, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And the state is really the corporations. So us being like cattle. Imagine that. And what I'll be saying all the time is, the greatest resource on the planet is humans, no matter how you look at it. There's no more valuable resource on the planet than humans. More valuable than gold, diamonds, whatever you name it, oil, you name it. Humans are more valuable. So you think of humans as like cattle, and then you want them to do certain things. You know what I mean? Because it's your money. That's your money. And you also remember the seatbelts. Remember when the seatbelts came out, and people was like, "How are they gonna force me to wear a seatbelt?" It's kind of like the argument with the helmets on the motorcycles. And it's a valid argument, because if they get squished off the motorcycle when they fall off, who are they hurting other than themselves? You get into a wreck and you fly through the windshield. Maybe you can hurt other people or whatever, but so it's like they're protecting their investment. They're protecting their chattel. They need you to pay taxes, buy stuff. Doc says the machine rejected me long ago. That's why I haven't found my place and been able to thrive instead of just survive. Man, you have to learn how to thrive. The machine rejected me too. Or I rejected the machine, and I'm thinking about plugging back in and shit. I ain't gonna lie. It's hard out here for a pimp. But, you have to find a way to thrive. The earth is abundance. We live in the freaking Garden of Eden. You know what I'm saying? This, just like the comment the guy said, is the scarcity is an illusion. Even the fact that, we're not thriving, or that we can't thrive or we don't thrive, is an illusion because of the programming. You know what I'm saying? And I think what I like to say is, you have to try to look at things in different ways. You don't have to compete with your neighbor. You don't have to compete with your coworker or whatever. You don't have to have all the latest streaming services. You don't have to have the newest car. You don't have to have all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I really kind of live as a minimalist more and more, I think. Even like a lot of the clothes and shoes and stuff we don't need all that stuff. They teach us to hoard. They teach us to be hoarders and to overconsume, just consume, and hoard. And that's what we do. And it's really not a freaking natural thing. And it's really not a good thing. It's really just unsustainable. And it's really stupid. And that's where we get the idea of the scarcity, because we want to have 20 pairs of shoes. You know what I'm saying? We want to have 300 shirts, and then they tell you you're not living if you don't have that. That's not true. To living is to be alive, is to really experience life. You know what I'm saying? It's about having real experiences, doing things, creating things, making connections with others, making connections with the earth, the animals, the plants and the trees, And I say that people love to work really, but they want to create. They want to do what they want to do, whatever it is. And it's not about money. It's not about how much that income is going to come off of that work that they're doing. They're doing that work because they enjoy doing it. They want to do it. So this whole thing with the getting paid and all of that shit, it forces people to do things like a person today asked me at work, they was like, I heard you said that you was in school, what do you go to school for? I'm an anthropology major. Oh, well, why'd you choose that? I'm really interested in humans. I think it's weird. I feel like humans don't really fit in the system. Everything else fits in the system, and humans are just a bit of an anomaly. And it's really curious to me. So I just want to study it and learn more about it. And the guy was like, well, good luck with that. I hope that works out for you. And those are the kind of comments I get all the time. And it's because whenever you go to school, you're supposed to go for something that makes money, economics, engineering, something like that, whatever, so that you could get a job and you can make a lot of money and you can be the boss of the company and you can get a salary and all of this. But what if not all of us really want that? Why come I can't just learn stuff because I want to learn stuff, You know, I'm applying it to my life just like I do as a server or waiter. You know, again, I love anthropology, so I'm doing and psychology. So I'm doing that. Part of the reason why I like waiting tables is because I get to watch people. And if you want to learn a lot about people, then watch them when they eat and how they eat and what they eat and the behavior before and after and stuff. Their behavior while they're eating, how they chew, how they talk to their date or other or significant other, family member, whatever. Trust me, you're gonna learn a lot about people. Man, I lost my fucking point. You know. Oh yeah, the guy. And so okay, about money. Not everybody really wants to, just make money, we do need money to survive, but not everybody is just like motivated by it. It doesn't motivate me. I've made money before in the past. I've had money. I've had things. I know what it feels like. I really do. But and it's nice. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's nice. It's very nice. But at the same time, like, that doesn't move me. And I told myself I would never be a worshiper of money. So I make sure that it's not my primary motivation for anything that I do. I do it because I want to do it, whatever it is, even my job, even my work. Does that make any sense? Let me read the comments. What about the emotional damage to the person that just turned your head into paste? He says, dude, I'm living out of a freaking motel. There is no thriving for me here. Just escape. But what I'm saying is you have to find a way to thrive. Not saying that living in a hotel is going to be thriving. You got to find a way to live your life in a way that you have abundance. You know what I'm saying? And so you just got to find a way to work that out. Most of the time they say it's not how much you make, it's what you spend. And I believe that's true. But, you're on a treadmill right now. You know what I'm saying? You got to find a way to get off of that hole.
Shit. I don't know, bro. I mean, I believe that that's true in some aspects of life, in some people's lives, depending on what they have and who they have, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be honest with you, most married couples, the majority of married couples that I have seen that seem to be pretty well, pretty comfortable in their lives and live a decent life without struggling, they both work. They both work and or have a business that they both work together and support, you know what I'm saying? And make things happen. You know. But I believe that that's true, in a sense, depending on the person, depending on, the your lifestyle and how you decide that you want to live and the things that you want to do. But uh, I think for someone like our brother here, I mean, I personally don't like hotels to begin with. Like, when something happens out here and I can't deliver to a customer, the company's always, I have a company credit card. I can stay at any freaking hotel I want to. You know what I'm saying? But majority of the time, my co-driver will go grab one. I'll stay in the truck. Like, I'm just that type of person. So I understand what Doc is saying.
Well, the thing about the
Being
rooms,
somewhere like that,
they
there's no
prey.
privacy. There's
They
no.
prey on poor people. Can y'all hear me? They prey on poor people. It's
Yeah.
like the prices be outrageous. They don't make deals for you, and it's like when you're like living in the hotel, it's like they should give you a deal. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they don't, and it's like it's another way. Like I say, the hamster wheel. It's a reason why people go to work, and like I said, it's the pinch is on right now. The pinch is on. Prices are up. Gas prices are up. You know what I'm saying? The pinch is on. So everybody's like, go back to work, get another job, get a second job, and all of this shit. And it's like that's throwing people back into the hamster wheel. So I'm not saying it's easy, especially once you fall that far, and then everything costs more now when you fall to that level. Everything costs more. You pay more for everything. So that's the thing. That's what people don't really understand. Poor people, they spend the most money on regular ass shit because they just can't really like do it in a better way. But
And then
that's
they
what you have
make
to
it
do
so
though.
hard. out here, if you don't own and you're someone that's renting, if you fell on hard times and you just so happen to get an eviction, do you realize how fucking hard it is to get another place? The
I know.
scrutiny that you go through, like
And,
it's
and you're gonna
ridiculous,
have to do
bro.
something illegal, and then when you get caught doing something illegal, now it's even more harder for you to find a place. I gotta go ahead, bro. Make comments about this. I gotta reboot my screen. Yeah, I'm gonna reboot my screen. Go ahead, bro. I'll be right back, y'all. My bad.
No,
Just
I'm
talk
just
about
saying.
whatever.
I'm just saying, bro. It's hard, and at the end of the day, there's a lot of things in life that I want, that I would like to have. They may be materialistic to others. And I hear people say that shit, but it's like at the end of the day, why do we thrive to be successful? Along with our success, we want things that motivate us. We want things that we desire. Things, if your niche is building, top of the line computers in your free time, you want to be able to work and make enough money to be able to do that and put money into that. If your niche is guns, building guns, or, having nice, automobiles to to take and restore and flip. And, like that's why we get out and do what we have to do beyond the fact of providing for ourselves, but I don't know, man. I get it. The whole minimalist, lifestyle, and um, it works for some people. It really does. I've never necessarily have never went down that road of trying it, but yeah, I'm kind of minimalist. I mean, I don't have to have all of the luxuries like people have. I'm fine with just having internet because I don't watch TV anyway.
Yeah,
Honestly, I
I
don't.
pretty much gotta have
Like,
internet. That's like a
like
must.
if I have internet and a smart TV and like a tablet, like an iPad or a really badass computer,
Then you're good.
I'm pretty much straight. You know, I don't need a lot of furniture within my house. I don't need a lot of, I just, I want nice, clean line. I like clean lines. See everything that you got. Go right to it, type of deal. Whereas my wife, on the other hand, she's different. She believe in keeping shit, and I believe in throwing that shit away. Give it to somebody. Throw that, like, bro, throw it away. I don't
That's what I
fucking
do.
want this a
I give the
nuisance.
stuff away or end up throwing it away because we have a bunch of extra shit that we just don't need, and it just be packing it around. Like some of the clothes that you wash over and over again that you don't ever even wear and shit like that. Like it's just stupid.
Yeah.
Doc, your last comment, all your comments are gone now, but you made a comment right before I rebooted, and it cleared. So I didn't get. I glanced. I only saw it for a moment, and then I rebooted the screen, and now it's gone. I was gonna post it and say it, but I don't know what it is now because it's gone. What was I gonna say? When I be clicking too much, that's when that should be happening. Oh yeah, tilapia. Yeah, people was talking about tilapia. Do y'all eat tilapia? Let me play this right quick.
Dirty story. This is basically where our wastewater treatment begins. We have about 300,000 tilapia and carp in here, right, to get rid of a lot of the particulates. Particulate poop. Yes. Once they reach up to a harvest size, we harvest them out and sell them.
The fish that help purify the dirty water by eating uneaten food and poo will then be sold on the market for people to eat.
Right, exactly.
That's fantastic. Al is basically in the toilet right now, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
I'm getting in with him.
Yes, well, good luck.
Oh, yeah. So the water.
Wow. I'm probably gonna get in trouble for playing that because that's Animal Planet clip. But it says they say tilapia used to clean wastewater, then sold to the public.
I used to eat tilapia a lot, back when I was younger, before I knew about tilapia, and Yeah, they said that there used to be reports that tilapia was not real, like it was a lab created fish. I don't know, there's a lot of things, but I seen that episode right there, and
Oh,
I
you
was
saw
like,
it.
yeah, yeah, because I used to watch his show. It's Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to watch his shit big time.
Damn, that's a dirty job. And then
Yeah.
how do you know where those tilapia are in there? Are all the tilapia like that? Like, you know, are there any clean tilapia? Probably if you raise it yourself, or maybe it's from like a small farm.
I don't know, bro.
Or probably it's just to tell people just to stay away from tilapia, period. It's a dirty fish anyways.
Catfish is a dirty fish.
Yeah.
People tear that shit off the frame, go fishing for it all the time, and bring that shit home. Catfish is not a fish you should be eating. It's a bottom feeder fish. Yeah. Uh, yeah. You should eat good fish like trout, bass. You know, uh, white perch is good. I like reds. I like snapper. Yeah.
Yeah. Red snapper is good. Yep.
Yeah.
I eat salmon a lot.
Not real big on salmon. Salmon has its own little deal too that you got to be careful with.
Yeah.
They have like sea fleas or something like that. It's something with salmon they were talking about, but I eat it every once in a while. I like to get a whole salmon fillet and marinate it in this sauce that my wife makes, and
Mm-hmm.
take it and put it on the charcoal grill and let it slow smoke. It's so good. Not gonna lie to you, it
Yeah,
really
but
is.
if I'm being fancy, I'm gonna have some sea bass. That's
Yeah,
my
sea
favorite, and
bass
I
is
like
nice.
flounder. I eat flounder all the time. The main fish I eat is flounder and salmon all the time, and I
That's
and
some
I.
good stuff.
But sea bass be expensive, so I don't get to do that all the time.
Here you go, bougie ass motherfucker. Doc, you hear this bougie motherfucker?
Doc says I'll eat catfish that are from running water or well operated farms, the clean water farms. Yeah, but how do you know which ones are those? And can you trust them?
You can look them up. You can look them up. Most of your catfish farms are around like Mississippi. Mississippi has a shit ton of catfish farms. Alabama. I think Georgia has a few, but I know for sure Mississippi, Alabama got a lot of catfish farms, especially Mississippi. All over Mississippi. And they're fresh water. It's not running water, but it's fresh water. But they have those big systems on there that like turns the water, if you will, if that makes sense. I forget what they call that system.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Damn, dirty ass fish. It's like, what can we eat, bruh? It's like everything is freaking polluted. What's okay to eat? All we hear about is what we can't eat. And people just
Bro,
say fuck it. After a while, you just say fuck it.
I I think anything in excess is too much. It's bad for you. I mean, I don't feel that you can 100% truly get away from. That's just like all of these people that went vegan, and look at how many people remain sick after going vegan because this plant-based meat that they were buying off of the shelves, had all of these chemicals in it, like that, that Beyond Meat shit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
bro, if you ever read the true ingredients of that shit had like tire filler and shit like that in it, bro. Like that shit is horrible for you. So if you're gonna be vegan, you just need to eat straight, wholesome vegetables. Find you a local farmers market in your area. Go buy your vegetables in bulk from there. Like
Doc says you can look them up. The David Beard's farms are clean farms. I want to play this little clip just because it's funny. It says, "Why did you send $40 billion to Ukraine when your constituents are struggling?"
That's why. Why? Because fuck them. That's why.
Yeah, man, that pop copy skit off of Dave Chappelle's show was one of the funniest freaking skits that he did. Freaking hilarious when he was rubbing the poop, like the chocolate around in the bathroom to make it look like poop so people wouldn't use the bathroom. It's like every hour you have to go in and spread some more chocolate around.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's funny. I'm gonna move on to the heavy stuff in a second. Not your body, not your choice.
Great to specifically say, Cenk, what we already knew the anti-choice movement is all about. It's not about life. It's not about death. It's all about control, and specifically control over women's bodies. He said it clearly.
You have no choice. Not your body, not your choice. Your body is mine.
He thought it would be great to specifically say, Cenk, what we already knew the anti-choice movement is all about. It's not about life. It's not about death.
Yeah, man, that's heavy in the news right now. It says blast in Sadar area of Karachi injures 3, damages multiple cars. That's somewhere in India. I'm not even gonna say that. Yep. They say get the hell out of here. Don't want to go to school with black people. I don't want to go to school. I want to just break the rules. Oh. But the kids have that in their room. Why does there sound to this? I'm telling them what the hell it is.
You got a friend. I'm gonna throw him up. You gonna catch both of them? Georgetown! Let's get it!
Fuck that for a laugh. I know what I'd rather do. Trot them away. Love it.
Internet. Yeah, the randomness.
You can see a woman just unloading her cart in the parking lot of the Rice Epicurean Market on Fountain View. This was 1 week ago. A black BMW there, right there, slows down, drives up, and then doesn't even stop, just grabs the woman's purse. She tries to chase after the vehicle, but the thieves had already gone by then. And look at this, minutes before that, you can see the same BMW parked, and someone gets out, slouches down, and tries to open a car door. Here's the thing, Houston police believe they were after another woman's purse, but she had locked her car door. The thieves have not been caught yet. Boy, that's scary. So look at this, you can see a woman just...
Man, the pinch is in, so they're pinching everybody, so that of course the crime is gonna increase. It's crimes of desperation. People are them damn stimulus checks them ran out.
That ain't desperation. They need to get off of their sorry fucking asses and go get a job. Say, bro,
Yeah.
I don't like people that steal. I don't like people that fucking go and try to steal and skim off of people that's out here working hard for theirs. Motherfucker,
Yeah.
you got the same opportunity, bro. I don't feel sorry for them whatsoever. All that bullshit, it's tough. Hey, it's tough on everybody. Everybody getting bent the fuck over right now.
Yeah, and if
Go
you want
out
to
there
steal
and work.
something,
Go
steal from these
the
damn
rich
corporations.
motherfuckers. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Why you? This woman walking through the parking lot, you never know. They snatched her purse, bro. That could be her fucking rent money in there, mortgage payment. This woman could have just made enough money to pay her mortgage that's been behind for months. Like, I don't like that kind of shit, bro.
I don't like that shit at all, bro. I don't like people taking other people's shit. I don't like that. It's such a violation, I don't
Bro,
like
when
that
I was
shit.
a kid, I did that dumb shit, bro, and I realized like the hurt that you cause on people. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro,
Yeah.
like Like I totally like I despise that shit, bro. Like
Taking
go
shit
get it
that's
for
not yours.
yourself. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Let me
you
play
know,
this. This is interesting. Hold on. There's no sound. It says 11 illegal immigrants bail out of a vehicle after the human smuggler who was driving them rolled the car over while being pursued by Texas DPS in Sullivan City in the Rio Grande Valley.
Sullivan City, baby. I used to hang out there. Sullivan City, Rio Hondo, Harlingen, McAllen, Edinburgh.
Damn. Inmate, hold on. Inmate.
Correctional officer and then took the vehicle. He crashed it a short time later.
Oh, shit. Hold on. Sorry.
From Leon County, north of Madisonville, that is where we were told a Texas Department of Criminal Justice inmate escaped near Centerville after he stole a transportation bus. Investigators say 46-year-old Gonzalo Lopez assaulted a correctional officer and then took the vehicle. He crashed it a short time later. Authorities are searching for him now. Lopez is serving a life sentence for capital murder out of Hidalgo County and attempted capital murder out of Webb County. If you have seen him or know anything, you are asked to call 911.
Shit, Centerville, Texas. That's up here where I'm at. I'm finna be
From
passing
Leon.
through Centerville.
Well, keep a lookout for this guy, apparently.
I don't want to see that motherfucker. Fuck you. That motherfucker kill me. He ain't got shit to lose, dog.
Yeah.
He ain't got years. He got letters.
Yeah.
He ain't got shit to lose. Fuck that motherfucker. I don't want to see him.
Yeah, so being that you was a CEO before, how do you think that could happen? He stole the bus?
By him, I don't really know the whole story of it, but he could have been like one of those inmates that knew the system, that played the system, became really well with the officers and COs or whatever. Probably let their guard down around him, and boom, there you go. When he had his opportunity to strike, bro, they don't give a fuck. Like they will literally prey on your feelings, have you bringing, free world money into them, doing all kind of shit because they'll tell you some shit like they being extorted or yada yada yada, and then the minute they get caught with that shit, they'll rat you out. Oh man, Officer Willis is bringing that in to me. That's how I got it. And then next thing you know, you're facing free world charges. Now you locked up. I didn't never really get I respected them because I feel like they're being punished for their crimes already. I treated them as a human being, but as far as all of that extracurricular, I didn't get down like that because I already knew you'll wind up because they gonna snitch on you. Like them inmates will roll on your ass at a heartbeat.
Yeah. Let me read the comments. Doc says elections are coming up. It's all the left has got, especially with current leadership in the top seat. I'm gonna read some more. He says, but there will be another mass shooting soon, then another police versus people of color incident just before the elections. I think those incidents be happening, and what they do is they just, the media, they latch on when it's election time. Okay, we can use this. It says, it's lack of fear of repercussions. He's talking about the people stealing. It's easier to steal than work. He says, and today they don't care if they put someone else out of their home. In my days, you rob the business and leave the people alone. Leave the damn people alone. He says, and remember, a fine only means legal for a price. Yep. That's our system. And then if you have a bunch of money, then that fine means nothing, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. You can keep finding me. And that's what they do to these major corporations. Like, let's say you have like an oil company and they're dumping their
it's cheaper
trash.
for them to pay. It's cheaper for them to pay the EPA violations and fines than it is for them to buy permits.
Exactly. So then they just, they don't care. They just like, we got a budget for that shit. Just fucking pay them whatever. We already know they're gonna make us pay, so we got it.
That's the mentality of America, bro. You know, it's better to act like, man, I had this old guy tell me this shit a long time ago, bro. I never forget. I was trying to find somewhere to park, and he was like, man, we were delivering at the same place, and we were talking. He was like, man, I'm gonna just go park at the property when they get there in the morning. He's like, I know they say no overnight parking there. He's like, man, forget it. He's like, I'm gonna just go park there. He's like, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. I, you know, and I was just like, wow, that is the mentality of our society. It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission because they already know you ask for permission. There's a 99% chance that you go.
You're breaking up.
I
Yeah,
apologize, you know, type of
oh
shit.
shit. Oh shit. Yeah, I learned that when I was in the corporate world. It's better to not ask for permission and just ask for forgiveness on whatever you're trying to do. You'll be more successful in the corporate world if you go at it that way. Yep, because they're gonna tell you no. I'm probably gonna move on in a second. He says, who is that? He says, I love you more than life itself, Thug Gun. My love and support will be here forever. It's sad, bro. Them dudes might sit down for the rest of their life. That's what it's looking like. It's hard to beat a RICO. They've been building the case for years and years. They gotta have a whole bunch of shit to be able to charge you with a RICO. But I wonder
I
how
don't
real
know.
is it?
Ain't that what they
Yeah.
were trying to charge 6ix9ine with? A RICO?
Yeah, I think so, but I don't think that he eventually, that's not what he got charged with. His charges was dropped lower. So maybe that could happen to Young Thug and Gunna. Well, and then everybody knows 6ix9ine. Basically, all of his friends and everybody he was rolling with, they all went to jail when all that happened. So, they just spread it out.
But yeah, I don't know, man. They may get out Gunna, but they don't have any RICO charges on Gunna, I think, because he hasn't been. Only thing they got him on is just being pretty much being affiliated, and they said by you being affiliated, you can be, but he only repping YSL because that's the label he signed to. He signed to that record label. He signed the
That's what I'm saying. I wish I could understand all this better, bro. But he probably created that. But just the whole thing, like I say, the whole system is preying on these guys, and that's what's happening. And then it recreates itself and re-emphasizes itself, and because the kids listen to Young Thug, and then they want to have the clout too, and then the cycle starts again. And meanwhile, the police, the prisons, the lawyers, the court system, everybody making money. The record labels, you know what I'm saying? All making money, because after Young Thug goes to jail, you think his streams gonna stop? And then they're gonna be like, you can't make money off of criminal enterprises. That's what they did to Shine. He released the album while he was in jail, and it started doing good, and they got wind of it and shut it down. It was like, you're benefiting from your criminal acts. By singing about them in songs, and you're in prison. Yeah, I'm not saying they're right. They obviously did some fucked up shit. But what I'm saying is the system is preying on them and like guiding them into this. You know, like the program, like we was talking about earlier. So the young men get programmed, you know, to live this way. You know, and it leads to what it leads to them dying or going to jail or having a record and not being able to really have a life. It just makes me sad. That story makes me sad. The Young Thug Gunner thing.
Immediately, because I don't like RICO. I don't like conspiracy.
Right.
You know, give me a homicide right now. I take a homicide right now before you give me that. Because look, John Gotti will walk out the courtroom successful 3 times until they start calling him Teflon Don homicides. And then they come with that RICO, and then you 23-1 marrying.
Yeah, it's done.
You know, it get crazy. So like that those laws were designed for you not to escape them. Culturally, they're going gang. When I get on the record with them, I go, I am not gang. I do not gang bang. Immediately. Because I don't like RICO. I don't like conspiracy.
Right.
You know, give me a homicide right now. I take a homicide right now before you give me that. Because look, John Gotti will walk out the courtroom successful 3 times until they start calling him Teflon Don homicides. And then they come with that RICO, and then you 23-1 marrying.
Yeah, it's done.
And that's what fucking Young Thug and Gunna got, RICO charges, bro. They so hard to beat. Yep. And that's what everybody is saying. They're saying they're done. They're saying they're going to get life.
See, that's the thing about RICO charges. They won't even bother filing them unless they know it's a slam dunk.
And they've been building this case for years and years and years and years. Got stacks and stacks of fucking evidence.
Ukrainian refugees and think back to what happened with Syrian refugees. What's different now?
There are huge differences between illegal migrants who are basically taking the services of human traffickers, don't follow the rules, don't carry papers, and certainly there are no immediate danger because this is not the first safe country they are entering.
If you're looking for refuge, just go to the country next door.
This is the fundamental principle which is guiding the international agreements on migrants. Refugees are entitled for refuge and protection, the first safe country they enter.
So Jews who were fleeing Germany during World War II, they should have gone to Poland for safety.
As it happened, or rather, they were...
France?
Well, sure. Again, in Europe, it certainly looks a little bit more complicated than in the United States.
Sure. But I guess Americans look at it and they see Hungary welcoming Ukrainian refugees and think back to what happened with Syrian refugees.
Yeah, we covered that shit. Let me read this comment. It'd probably get me in trouble, but it says one of the slickest Illuminati moves is how they turn their depopulation agenda into a social movement where the very people they aim to kill rally for their own extermination. Fucking top-notch evil sorcery right there. Touche. This was Homage at Lion Killer. I guess this is a tweet. Looks like a tweet. I'm not even going to comment on that. That's too scary. It says, as you heal, your attractions change too. Toxicity stops looking like excitement and peace stops looking like a boredom. Yes. I freaking love my peace. And my daughter says I'm boring. You know, I don't like drama in my life. I don't really like surprises. Because surprises are usually bad ones. Well, it's been my experience. I don't want no surprises. I follow a routine every day.
No, I'm borderline spectrum. I can do without surprises.
Telling you, bro. I could do without them. He says, car recalls. How much will the lawsuits cost versus the cost of repairing all the cars? Yeah, y'all know what controlled obsolescence is. He says, in the corp world, if you are right, your boss is a great leader. If you're wrong, he throws you under the bus. Exactly. That's how it works. So that's why I don't ask for permission. Just do it and hope it works. It better work or you're in trouble. Yeah. So, Deuce, have you ever heard of controlled obsolescence? Did we talk about that already? I think a lot of people don't understand that concept. And it's really true. It's like,
Yeah, I've heard of it.
well, basically the concept is how you make things to wear out so that they can buy them again. That's the basis of it. And I didn't know what that was until I heard a song by Lupe Fiasco years ago. And no, they didn't. Yes, they did. When you find out what planned obsolescence is. And I was like, what the hell is he talking about? I hate it when people use words I don't know what they mean. So I had to look that shit up, and I did. And so it's like planned obsolescence is, and they do it like one of the main ways you think about it is with cars, because Doc just said something about the cars. So like, you make certain parts so that they're going to wear out and so forth and so on, so that you could get a new car. It's kind of like our phones, how they make us buy new phones all the time and this shit. The damn software stopped working. You can't even download the new program because you don't have enough space on your phone to do the update. So now you got to buy a new phone, or your phone ain't even gonna be working right. So basically, what I'm saying is, plans of obsolescence is how a lot of these companies, not all companies do this, but a lot of these companies, they create their products in a way that they're going to wear out over a certain period of time. It's like, think about your pots and your pans. Some stuff you should never have to buy again, like your furniture, your bed. But the economy is not about that. They want you to have to buy a new refrigerator. They want you to have to buy a new bed. They want you to have to buy a new car, a new toaster, a new skillet. You know what I'm saying? After a certain time goes by. Because they could make these products in a way that they pretty much last forever, or at least a lifetime, but they don't do that.
Girl.
He says bed used
Unless
to
you buy
be 8 to
cast
10
iron, man.
years.
You buy
Now they're
cast
3 to
iron,
5.
that shit lasts forever.
Yeah, you can buy good skillets and spend some money on those skillets, and yes,
Yeah.
you can. And it's like that with
Cast
cars and
iron,
other
bro.
things
Buy
too.
you go to the lodge. Go to the lodge.com and buy cast iron skillets, buy Dutch oven pots. They got regular pots, cast iron pots. Like that shit lasts, bro. For real.
And that's what you have to do. And that's how you get off the treadmill. That's how you change your lifestyle, is because, when you do have money, instead of spending it on like going out to eat or frivolous things, brand labels, you
Buy
buy the stuff
glassware.
that you
Stop buying
that you really
these little
need,
cheap ass pans. Stop buying
stuff that you
these little
really
cheap
need,
ass metal pans out of
and
Walmart
stuff that
and
you
buy
really
glass.
use.
Yeah.
And then you can use it for a long time, because at some point you're gonna end up buying all the stuff that you need. Like, once you become an adult, like, you don't grow anymore. You know what I'm saying? You your clothes and your shoes, like, you do have to buy shoes every now and then because they wear out. Again, planned obsolescence. But I think shoes are like tires. They're designed to wear out, and that's a good thing, actually. Some things should be designed to wear out. That should be in its design because of, for its functionality. You know what I'm saying? You can't have tires that last forever. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe you can, but I couldn't imagine what that would look like. The same thing with shoes, because you want them to grip, you want them to work well. So, but damn, what was I saying? Fucking damn it, I lost my thought. I lost it, y'all. Sorry.
But yeah, man, I got to tell people, man, bro, buy good cookware. Don't buy the
Oh
cheap
yeah.
pan. Don't buy the cheap pans out of Walmart. If you do yourself justice, bro. You can buy a whole glass cook set. You know, yeah, it's gonna cost a little bit more, but it's gonna last you. You know, your pans should be glass. Your bowls that like you do your meal preps and anything that stuff that you gotta reheat. You know, it's not good to use plastic all the time. As far as for your meal prep foods, reheating that plastic bowl because plastic has chemicals in it that a certain amount releases when the plastic heats up.
Especially in the microwaves, because the way the microwave works, it's sending those waves through everything that's in there. So, it's kind of like that movie The Fly and shit. But it's like the microwave doesn't discern between your food and the plate. So it's, and that's where you're going to end up with bits of the plate in your food if the plate can come apart. And if it's plastic or styrofoam, you really shouldn't use nothing like that in the
Yeah.
microwave.
Man, you notice how like back in the day, like the older, our elders, back in the day, if you look at any type of like pictures from family gatherings or, you know, when they had guests come over, you notice everybody drunk out of they drunk out of glasses. They used, it was all glass type stuff, or it was cast iron. As far as their cooking. My wife has a pot that her grandmother gave to her when we got together. Beautiful pot, dude. I mean, well seasoned pot. Her grandmother had the pot for like 35 years before she gave it to us. And she gave it to us back in like 2008,
Yeah.
2007.
And that's also the different in how they make things now too, because they seems like they make everything. It's really hard to find skillets and shit that's gonna last and shit. But yeah,
Bro, I
you
say
spend your money.
cast iron, bro. Cast iron skillet. You buy, bro. I'm gonna tell you, you can buy you a cast iron skillet and a cast iron Dutch oven. The company to buy, the brand name I would recommend anybody buy is called Lodge. You got a cast iron skillet and a Dutch oven, and get a couple of their little medium-sized pots, like little saucepan style pot. Bro, you don't need anything else.
Yeah, that's what I
Like
was
you
trying to
can
get
cook
to.
in the oven with that. You can put that fucking cast iron skillet in the oven and bake chicken in that motherfucker, bro.
Yeah,
I
so that's
do
what I
it.
was trying to get to, because when you get to the point where you have all the stuff you need, then at that point you don't need to buy stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you get off of the hamster wheel, and that's how you get off the treadmill. You invest in it, you make plans, you plan it out, and you make it happen. You know what I'm saying? You look at the calendar and you be like, by this date, I'm off this fucking treadmill. Doc's comments. He says, I lost all my cast iron. Is there one before that? No. I lost all my cast iron in the storage room and all my original Pyrex. I lost a bunch of shit in storage too because I just didn't have the space. Because, like I said, I think I'm becoming more of a minimalist, but some of that stuff I wish I had. But it's like one of the parts that with us hoarding things, we have to have somewhere to store all this stuff. And part of the programming that we have is like, the lifestyle, and you have to have a house. Part of the reason why you got to have a house is because you got to have all this stuff. But if you have a house, then you got to put a bunch of stuff in it, because otherwise, why you have a house? You get what I'm saying? It's like each one of them keep reinforces the other. Doc says, in the old days, you used to retread your tires and resole your shoes. Okay. He
They
says,
sure did. Yeah, you had more like what they call shoe hospitals, where you could take a pair of kicks in, tennis shoes, pair of good, dress shoes, and they would rip the soles off and stitch on brand new soles, put new insoles in there, buff out the leather. Same way with your tennis shoes. They would do a deep clean on them, rip the soles off of them, clean away all of the old glue, old threads, put new soles on them, new glue, new stitching. Yeah, they still have those places around, but not many people utilize. I mean, obviously enough people utilize them for a Houston Shoe Hospital to still exist. But they still
I've used
have
that
those places
place.
around.
I've used that place, that shoe hospital place before. But you
Yeah.
have to have a fucking good ass shoe from the jump, you know what I'm saying, to want to repair it, because the shoes, a lot of the shoes, the way they wear out nowadays is in ways that it's not, it's not reparable. You know what I'm saying? Or if you do repair it, it's going to be ugly and techie looking. You get what I'm saying? Because it's ripping at the top or the toe is coming out, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, something like that you probably wouldn't repair, but if you just got like a nice pair like old school Nike Dunks or something, you know, something that you wore you wore the hell out of them, but they're actually still in decent condition. Just the sole is wore down pretty good. You know, you can take that in there and they'll re-sole it, put a new sole on it, new insoles, clean it up real good. The actual fabrics, materials, you know, like you'd be surprised what they can do with old shoes, bro. There's some very creative people out there. You'd be surprised what they'll do with some old shoes.
And then what about people's perception? Because people like, you know, the way we live, the world we live
Bro,
in, it's
fuck
gotta
people
have new
perception.
shoes. Yeah, gotta have new
Fuck their
shoes.
perception, because you could say, bro, you could walk into somewhere and be Gucci down or Louis Vuitton down or Michael Kors or Tom Ford down, and somebody in that crowd, when you walk in there, is gonna have something to say about your outfit. Gonna have something to say about you as an individual. So I don't even give a fuck about that shit.
That's how I am. I really do care because they're mostly idiots, anyways. Brainwashed fucking zombie robots. Why would I care what the fuck you
I
think?
ask my wife what she thinks. Like when I put on an outfit, I'd be like, "Hey, do I look good? Am I matching? Does it match? You know, do I compliment you? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like hey, does this look nice to you? You
I
know,
ask my
hey, if
kids and
if
shit
she
like that.
good with it,
Yeah,
then I fuck what everybody else got to say, because I ain't
fuck
trying
them.
to impress none of y'all.
Fuck them. Let me read Doc's comments. He says, "What harmful chemicals are in plastic containers? Image results for chemicals in plastic bowls. Polyvinyl chloride, or PVC, is widely known as the most toxic plastic for health and the environment. In its production, it releases dioxins, phthalates, vinyl chloride, ethylene dichloride, lead, cadmium, and other toxic chemicals." I can't pronounce that one. Phthalates. I think I said that right. And he says the metals, tin copper cups, all the old Southern people used them. I remember those cups, man. I remember when I was a kid and going up to the country, and then it's like there's still a house out there that has like an old house in the back of it. And this old house, they've been keeping it. Like even the house in front of it is old, but the one behind it is really old. It's like a one-room shack, and it has like the old wood stove in the middle of it, and they used it for cooking and for heating. And it's like it's weird how those houses is because it doesn't really have like a kitchen area. I mean, it has like an area, but it doesn't really have a kitchen, and it doesn't really have rooms either because it's like around the, you know. But I remember drinking water out of a well that was out by this old house, and they used the tin cups to drink out of it. It's distinct memory, bro, because it gave me
Tin
vibes.
cups are copper style cups.
And it's like it makes the water cold. It's like it keeps the water cold, man. And then it's like you get minerals out of it too, so it makes it better for you. So many things that we did back in the days that we really should get back to. Let me read this one. It says
Were they copper cups?
I think they were copper. Yeah, because they were that brownish color, and you could polish them. Let me read Doc's comment. He says, "One thing that disturbs me in the industry is the amount of food I have to throw away. People that would not take it home, not just the ones that have something to do or somewhere to go. In California, they don't let the restaurants throw food away now. And I think that should be true across the nation. Especially these people like Walmart, the big, huge companies, because they're the ones who's throwing away a lot of shit. And like I say, I used to work with Home Depot. They throw away a lot of shit. And this stuff be like electronics and shit. And you'll get fired for taking that shit. And they're just finna throw it in the incinerator. It's taking up space on the shelves. They'd rather throw it in the incinerator than to donate it to anybody. This be brand new, unused stuff, like a PlayStation or something. Throw it in the incinerator. If you take that shit, you fired. Got all kind of cameras around that shit because everybody be tempted to do it. Even the managers, because it'd be all kinds of shit we have to throw away. Drills, you know what I'm saying? Like really useful stuff. I'm getting tired. I'm gonna go ahead and go into the one I want to cover for our second half of the show. After we cover this, I'm gonna wrap it. I'm hungry too. I didn't get to eat earlier. I went to work, been running around. Let me cover this. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start this and I'm gonna take a quick break too. Oh shit, we lost this.
Come in as we're underway here, but in the interest of time, we do want to get started. My name is Ann Toplavin. This year that at the end of each states in Europe and in the world's leading by American philanthropic organization, scary and necessary.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to come to Nashville. I'm very happy to kick off this festival. And can everybody hear? Good. Now, I'd like to tell you that I'm going to describe what is a 600-page book with 1,500 footnotes. I'm going to summarize as best I can. Most of the information is in the book itself. As I said, I'm happy to be here, but none of you are going to be happy to hear what I have to say. It's not good news. You're going to get angry. You're going to be shocked. And at the end of my discussion, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. First of all, we are talking about eugenics. Now, most people are familiar with Nazi eugenics. This was Hitler's idea for a master race. But very few people are aware that the idea originated not in Nazi Germany, but in the United States 2 to 3 years before Hitler, 2 to 3 decades before Hitler came to power, as American eugenicists went on a campaign to create a white master Nordic race, blonde and blue-eyed. Now, what are we talking about? We're talking about the idea of eugenics. Eugenics itself started in Victorian England. There was a scientist, his name was Francis Galton, the cousin of Darwin, Charles Darwin. And this guy, Galton, had these ideas that if talented, skilled, and wealthy people married other talented, skilled, and wealthy people, they would have talented, skilled, and wealthy children. And he thought by this method, we could improve society. He tried to put a number on this. He tried to find a pattern in this because he himself, of course, was a seeker of patterns. He was actually the inventor of fingerprints. Actually, God invented fingerprints, but he was the inventor of the method of identifying and classifying fingerprints. He was the inventor of various fashions of meteorology and barometric readings. And so he tried to find a way to quantify the idea of a good marriage. And he came up with this term from the Greek that he invented, eugenics, meaning good life or good birth. These ideas were imported into the United States at the turn of the last century, meaning in the early 1900s. Now, what was that time like? It was a time of great racial, ethnic, and demographic upheaval and conflict. What did we have? We had millions of Jews coming in from the East, from Eastern Europe, from Russia, from Poland. We had millions of blacks in the post-Reconstruction and post-Civil War era who were being integrated into United States society. Indians were being integrated into United States society. Millions of Asians had come in from the West as as indentured laborers, and millions of Mexicans were now in U.S. territory as a result of Mexican-American wars, in which we took over a great amount of Mexican territory. And there were a bunch of white guys some scientists, some wealthy people, men of privilege, people whose names most people don't know, names like Charles Davenport and Harry Laughlin, and they wanted it the way it was. They wanted it the way it was when their fathers were running the country. And of course, when we say the 20th century, we ask ourselves, who is running the 20th century? The 20th century was being run by guys from the Civil War, just as our 21st century is being run by guys in the post-Vietnam era. And these guys from the post-Civil War period brought all of their racist baggage into the 20th century with them. They considered themselves reformers. They considered themselves liberals, progressives, and utopians. And their idea of a utopia was a world in which no one would exist who did not resemble themselves. This all came at a time when Mendel's principles of heredity had been rediscovered and proliferated in the United States. Now, just to refresh you on Mendel's principles of heredity, this is where the peas, there's a blemished pea and a non-blemished pea, and the next generation, some are blemished and some are not. These men thought that the same principles that guided peas guided the development and generations of human life. And they believed that poverty was a genetic trait, criminality, chastity, morality. So in other words, you weren't born into poverty. Poverty was born into you. And the best way to get rid of poverty and improve the world was to get rid of the people who had this genetic trait. As far as they were concerned, it didn't matter if you took an African, put him in a white toga, taught him to read Latin, and put him in Italy. That did not make him a Roman. That's exactly the type of language that they used. So it was not the character of your family. It was not your wealth. It was not your position or your education. What mattered was whether you were of defective ancestry, racially unacceptable, eugenically unacceptable, and whether your progeny would create more defective individuals for society. And this is what they wanted to get rid of. They believed, that you could breed a better human being in the same way that you could breed a better herd of cattle, a field of wheat, an ear of corn. And consequently, the government agency that put these guys together was the U.S. Department of Agriculture, because they wanted to breed a better species of man also. So these guys obtained immense amounts of corporate philanthropy to back their ideas. I'm talking here about corporate philanthropy engaged in ethnic cleansing. The Carnegie Institution, the Rockefeller Foundation, the Harriman Railroad fortune, pouring the equivalent of millions into the coffers of these gentlemen to establish research facilities on Long Island and elsewhere that would study how best to eliminate all of the defective, unwanted, unfit, and unacceptable types of human beings that they considered eugenically out of bounds.
I don't want to be mean, but his list bothers me. It's like it kind of makes him sound like a douchebag because of the topics that he's talking about. Hold on. Were y'all listening to that? What parts did he get to? Because I watched this already, but I don't know what I missed. Did he talk about Hitler yet? Did he mention Hitler?
Yeah, he already mentioned Hitler, that eugenics was something Hitler used, but a lot of people don't know that the U.S. was already using it 2 or 3 decades before Hitler was in power.
Exactly. So what do you think about that? Had you heard that before?
No, I didn't hear that. I mean, I knew that the U.S. had their own, the whole gas chamber idea thing that I found U.S. where Germany got the idea from was the shit that they were doing in El Paso back in the day, and that was something that we covered. But yeah.
Yeah, man. Exactly. Let me play some more.
Now, what were some of their methods that they wanted? The first method that they thought about, one of the first, was gas chambers, public gas chambers. Now, remember, we're talking about the first 20 years of the 20th century, and they thought that the best idea was to march these guys into public gas chambers in groups, organized on a township or a county or a village basis. And within a period of time, these guys would disappear. But they concluded that our society was not ready for gas chambers. Even still, some individuals freelanced. For instance, there were mental hospitals in Illinois, one in particular that I describe in the book in Lincoln, Illinois, who fed their new patients milk from tubercular cows. And in so doing, infected these new patients, and then they allowed them to sleep in open dormitories to cross-infect the others. And by this method, they would have a 30 to 40% death rate.
That's them experimenting with ways to, like, you know what I'm saying, exterminate certain groups of people.
Yeah.
Of new patients. And tuberculosis, of course, was in that era as bad, if not worse, than AIDS is today. There were other doctors who would leave newborn infants who were defective or deformed, lying without any help or nutrition on the delivery table. One in particular gained national notoriety. He was called the Black Stork. He was such a hero of the eugenics movement. They actually made a movie about this guy, which you could see at the corner cinema for 25 cents or sometimes a nickel. But in the main, they believed that euthanasia would not achieve what they wanted to achieve. And so instead, they opted for forced surgical sterilization. And they got it.
So euthanasia, that term kind of fucking stuck out to me too when I watched this video. It made me think, because it's like when you think about that, you think about pets, right? Like they say, euthanize. They gotta get euthanized. It seems like they use that term when they're talking about pets, but the original term apparently is really about like infanticide. You know what I mean? And that's like the eugenics. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like I saw a movie. What was it? It was is it 300? At the beginning of 300, I want to say they have these scenes where they're showing like, these are like the Vikings or the gangsters or whatever, so and then they show like if the baby is not good, strong, then we can't keep them. They just leave them in the middle of the desert or some shit. And y'all heard of the story of like the fairies, the thing having to do with the fairies, having to be like the baby is with the fairies. And it's like, it really has a dark history related to people going and leaving their kids out in like the woods or whatever. And usually a lot of times it was because they had some kind of defect or whatever. And then they would be like, oh, well, they're with the fairies. So it's like a fantasy in your mind. You fantasize that they made it somehow. The fairies took care of them.
They obtained legislation in 27 states that forcibly sterilized some 60,000 Americans. In addition to forced surgical sterilization, there was marriage restriction, marriage annulment. If they didn't like who you were married, they unmarried you. And of course, there was the effort to create concentration camps, which they called farms or colonies, for those who were feeble-minded, so-called feeble-minded, or racially unacceptable. They started out by calling these colonies for the feeble-minded. There were several in New Jersey, in Massachusetts, and eventually hundreds of thousands of individuals were incarcerated and then forcibly sterilized because they were deemed to be unfit. Now, what kind of people are we talking about who are unfit? We're talking about Southern Italians. We're talking about Eastern European Jews. We're talking about blacks, Indians. We're talking about Asians. And we're talking about white guys with brown hair.
White guys with brown hair. Wow. And that's another part that kind of stuck out to me when I saw this before, because it's like all the other ones on the list is not surprising. All the other names, all the other ones on the list, they said Jews, black people, Indians, Asians, you know what I'm saying? What they say, Italians. So that's not surprising, but brown-haired white people, that's kind of surprising. I think that a lot of white people probably don't know that they would fall in the unsuitable. You know what I'm saying? That they would fall in they need to be in the eugenics program. Doc's comment, one thing that disturbs me, I already read that. What do you think about all this, Doc? I'm gonna play a little bit more. Actually, I want to play this little part again, because this part is the main part I wanted to freaking focus on.
Minded, so-called feeble-minded, or racially unacceptable. They started out by calling these colonies for the feeble-minded. There were several in New Jersey, in Massachusetts, and eventually hundreds of thousands of individuals were incarcerated and then forcibly sterilized because they were deemed to be unfit. Now, what kind of people are we talking about who are unfit? We're talking about Southern Italians. We're talking about Eastern European Jews. We're talking about blacks, Indians.
Why did he say Eastern European Jews? So not Jews from other places?
And then forcibly sterilized because they were deemed to be unfit. Now, what kind of people are we talking about who are unfit? We're talking about Southern Italians. We're talking about Eastern European Jews. We're talking about blacks, Indians. We're talking about Asians. And we're talking about white guys with brown hair.
This is the list of the people who will be unsuitable, who will be right for a eugenics program. And I think that people should be aware of this kind of thing, because there's still people who think like this, and you still got factions that are moving this way. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of things that are happening are taking us back in the past. So we really need to understand this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because we're going to find ourselves caught up in the same thing, and we're not going to see it happening for what it is.
They believe that white guys with brown hair, the hillbillies, the hill folk, many of which were in these parts of Tennessee, were basically bastardizations and mongrelizations of the white Nordic ideal that they lionized.
So what do y'all think about that? What he just said, so that's a huge part of, white folks that fall in that category. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like the idea of like mongrel mixed or whatever, and it's like dirty or whatever. You know what I mean? So, but it's like, when someone has the power to decide on what's ideal and what's not, like, how do you come up with those parameters? Like, and who makes those decisions or whatever? Like, I think if it was a democratic way of coming up with the idea of what's ideal, then, the outcomes will be very different. But then you have certain people who choose what's ideal, and what's ideal just so happen to look like them.
In fact, the state of Virginia published a booklet entitled Mongrel Virginians about these mongrel human beings. And they came up with a number of ideas on how to identify these people. And one of them was the alpha test and the beta test. It was a mental measurement test. And this mental measurement test might ask a Southern Italian who knew every opera and aria about a Broadway musical. He'd come into Ellis Island. They'd ask him a question about Broadway musicals. You might get a black guy from the farm who had never been to a big city, and they would ask him something about a cosmopolitan magazine. You might get a Baptist kid from a rural America who would, of course, never smoke. They'd ask him about tobacco ads. They would ask people about tennis rackets who didn't even know what tennis was. And by this methodology, they were able to conclude that 70 to 80% of the Jews were morons, 70 to 80% of the blacks were morons, and these people were worthy of sterilization.
Y'all hear that? So it's like, and you know that he's about to say it, but it's like, this is the precursor to the IQ test. So that shit is still real skewed. And I never liked the damn IQ test. And I really hate when people bring up like, oh, my IQ is this, or I got this score on like whatever fucking test, the SAT test or whatever was that my score on the SAT test was this or whatever the hell. Like, that ain't no measurement of shit, bro. That's how good you did on the test that day. And then what about how biased the test is? You know what I'm saying? To different cultures. You know what I'm saying? And then a lot of sometimes they be having like pop culture or whatever, like, you know, types of stuff in it. And it's like, if you're not from that culture, then you're not going to freaking know that stuff. And so you're stupid because you don't know about, I don't know,
Katy Perry.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say somebody like what does he say? The king of rock and roll. What is his name? They call him the king of rock and roll. The white guy. He died on the toilet. Why the fuck I can't think of his name? Elvis Presley. So it's like everybody should know who Elvis Presley is or whatever. So, but then you find but a guy doesn't know who Elvis Presley is because he's just not. It's not his culture. He never was introduced to that. Never, you know, whatever. And so, but then you're stupid. You don't know who the hell Elvis Presley is. You're a dumbass. Let me play some more. And you're worthy of sterilization.
So that they could not perpetuate their kind. This test, the alpha and beta test, was ultimately evolved into something we know today as the IQ test. It's the same basic test, but it's evolved. Now, there were so many things that were upside down about this. The ophthalmologists of America, if you can possibly believe this, went on a national crusade to identify everybody with a vision problem, find their entire family, round them up, put them in concentration camps, and forcibly sterilize them as a way to improve vision in America. There's a whole chapter about that.
Like, think about that. And like, scientifically or like, you know, basically or whatever, you take all ethics and morals or whatever out of it, it sounds like that would like work. You know what I'm saying? Like, or possibly could work. You know what I mean? But that also shows a lack of understanding of genetics. You know what I'm saying? Because in reality, that won't work because of genetics. You know what I'm saying? And it just so happened to be how that egg split or those cells split or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever hormones or whatever. Sometimes random stuff happens. It's the chaos of the universe. Creation is the chaos of the universe. So sometimes things are gonna happen. So that actually wouldn't work. So like, it's just an excuse for the ones that know that this wouldn't work. It's just an excuse to freaking kill people. Like, you know what I'm saying?
They actually took the first step with a bill entered into the New York legislature, although this bill was defeated. Although these laws were in 27 states, there were many people who felt that this was unconstitutional, and so there was a kind of a go slow approach. And so a fraudulent collusive lawsuit was created in Virginia for the purpose of making eugenics a test case. The state of Virginia wanted to sterilize the mother, the daughter, and the granddaughter of one family. It was a famous case, Carrie Buck, her mother, and her daughter. So the state of Virginia colluded with the court-appointed attorneys for Carrie Buck and wound a fraudulent appeal right up through the Supreme Court. And Oliver Wendell Holmes, who was a staunch eugenicist, ruled for the majority that it is better for all the world, that's a quote, that these 3 generations be sterilized. Quote, 3 generations of imbeciles are enough.
Do y'all hear that? And this is the Supreme Court. And what I'm trying to get everyone to understand and hear me is that all of this stuff can totally happen again. And when we're talking about the abortion argument that's going on right now, you know, it's not that far of a stretch to end up deciding to just freaking sterilize these women or whatever. It's like, oh, you had 3 abortions, so you obviously don't want no kids or something like that. And that'd be a punishment. Like if you broke the law and got caught getting an abortion more than one time, then they just be like, well, we'll just sterilize you or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know which way that would go. What I'm saying is that, you have these forces that want things to go a certain way or to happen a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And, you got people that really like this stuff that this guy is talking about. Like, this is in the past, but you have people who think this way today. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's kind of like the guy who really thinks he's doing good, trying to do good. Like it's Thanos, right? It's Thanos.
Yeah.
He's trying to do good. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Maybe you just want to kill people.
And in so doing, opened the floodgates. And ultimately, as I said, some 60,000 Americans were forcibly sterilized, many without even knowing it. Some, they said, were voluntarily sterilized. They would get some girl from the hills of Virginia or Kentucky or Tennessee, and they would ask her, hi, honey, do you like the movies? Do you like the cartoons? She'd say, yeah, I do. Do you mind if we do something to help out your health? She'd say, sure. And they say, fine, voluntary sterilization. Ultimately, this was not only national policy enshrined in legislation in 27 states, it became the law of the land. And backing it up was fake science and fake academics from the highest corridors of Harvard, Yale, Stanford, and Princeton. It was the greatest of our universities that provided the sham science to back up these racists.
It's so painful. It's so painful to hear this because I'm an academic. And, within academics, those institutions, carry a lot of weight, and then when you talk about slavery related to those, we talked about that in the other show, how Harvard specifically is connected to slavery, but many of the other institutions are too. And then you got this, the whole thing with the eugenics. And so like the name of the show today was Vatican Secrets and American Fascism. So this is me trying to, hold on, I got to check on something. Y'all, give me a second. I'm going to play the video.
Now, just so you understand, we are not talking about a bunch of guys running around a pickup truck with a Confederate flag behind them and a gun rack in the back window. We're talking about the brightest and the best, the elite, about the greatest America had to offer. And all these laws were endorsed and debated by 27 legislatures in 27 states. This was not an isolated matter. This was not a matter that never went into to implementation. It was a national attempt to engage in ethnic cleansing, and it was supported by corporate philanthropy. Now, it wasn't enough to do this in the United States. These guys, the American eugenics movement, wanted to do this worldwide. And so the Carnegie Institution began to sponsor pseudoscientific medical journals, international congresses, and research fellowships around the world, especially in Europe, to proliferate our ideas into other countries. And we did this successfully, getting cohorts of American eugenics to sponsor legislation in Canada, in Belgium, in Scandinavia, and a particular pet project of the American eugenics movement was Germany.
American fascism was exported to Germany and freaking taken to a whole nother level, done more efficiently. And I wish that people really understood this better or knew about this. You know, they don't really teach you this, but this is true. This is facts. And a lot of times people want to say the United States, you know, we're not fascist. We've never been fascist. We, you know, maybe we have a fringe element of fascism, but I don't think that's true, bruh. You know, we got a soft, like friendlier, like it's not friendlier, it's more nefarious version of fascism. You know, they do it more subtly. We lost Doc, man. Whenever I talk about the United States and fascism, we lose Doc. We'll play this.
And they successfully transplanted American ideas of eugenics into Germany into the 20s and ultimately the 30s. And in the 20s, it came to the attention of a guy called Adolf Hitler. And Adolf Hitler studied American eugenics, American eugenic laws, and American eugenic theories. And he conceded openly that he admired them. He admired them. And he took his pre-existing racism, his pre-existing anti-Semitism, and wrapped it in the idea of eugenics to scientize and medicalize his theories, and then switched the word Nordic race with Aryan race to create the Nazi quest for the master race. And he even acknowledged in fan mail to American eugenicists, such as one to Madison Grant, America's chief racist, from the American Museum of Natural History, when he said, "Your book is my Bible." And so I've been writing about the Holocaust for 35 years, and I finally understood what Nazism and the Holocaust was about. I've always said you can document it, but you'll never explain it. But if we listen to the words of Hitler and his inner circle in a common phrase that they used, he said, National Socialism is nothing but applied biology. And so it seems that even more than a war of territorial conquest and economic plunder, this was a eugenic war, a biological war backed up by a genocidal military. And in fact, the Rockefeller Foundation spent millions to build eugenic institutions from the ground up. And one of the institutions that they were building from the ground up was controlled by a guy called Ottmar Freiherr Verschuur. And Verschuur, we might say, was the chief Nazi eugenicist. And Verschuur received grants from Rockefeller. And Verschuur had an interest in twins. In fact, twin research was the holy grail of research for the eugenics movement, because with twins, you could unlock the mysteries of defective reproduction. And with twins, you could reveal the secret of multiplication of the master race. And Verschuur had an assistant, and the assistant's name was Josef Mengele. And Verschuur sent Mengele into Auschwitz to finish the program originally started and funded by Rockefeller. And so millions of Jews and Gypsies and other Europeans were unloaded boxcar after boxcar into Auschwitz amongst terror and noise. And the one word they each heard twice was the word twins. We want twins. And these twins were gathered, and horrible experiments were done on them. Horrible. They were fused together. Their veins were tied together. Their eyeballs were experimented with. They were given terrible viruses, painful injections in the eyes. And we have spent a half a century trying to understand the unfathomable nightmare experiments of Josef Mengele. But every American eugenicist understood what a Mengele would do, because every day Mengele worked on his scientific reports, his clinical autopsies, and dispatched them 2 or 3 times each week to his boss, for sure. In fact, after the Holocaust, for sure, was actually welcomed back into the fold of scientific fellowship by his colleagues in California. Now, after the Holocaust, at Nuremberg, eugenics was deemed to be an act of genocide, a crime against humanity, and the Americans went underground, and the Germans on trial quoted the words of Oliver Wendell Holmes in their own defense. They entered the California statutes, and California at all times was the state where 1/2 to 1/3 of all sterilizations took place. And they were found guilty. And then the Americans changed the name of American eugenics to human genetics.
Yeah, he's going to go on to explain that. Deuce, had you heard any of this stuff before?
Nope. First time, bro.
That's what I wanted to hear. I'm happy to hear that, because that's what I think. I think that because they don't cover this stuff, I dig and I look into this stuff. They don't teach you this stuff nowhere, you know? So, like, this is all buried stuff.
No, they don't want you to know that, bro. I mean, they're not, even though they do, they have done, I think even though they have done some horrible shit and they continue to do horrible shit, they wanna always paint America in a better light. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They want America to stand, you know, we stand for the people. You know, yeah, that's true, but they stand for a certain people.
Yeah.
They don't stand for all people.
Yeah.
You know, and that's you know, yeah, man. Like I say, it's horrible, you know, but
it's fucking what it is. I'm fucking cooking and shit. I need to check on my stuff. He's gonna talk about how the genetics, so the eugenics turned into the human genetics, and basically it just kept on going to today. He's gonna explain how it's the same labs, same people, everything. I'm gonna be back.
Oh yeah, yeah. I watched this video.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me play this. I'll be back.
Same guys, same buildings, same philanthropic funds, same laboratories. And over the span of 1 or 2 generations, this science of human genetics has evolved into the modern science of human engineering that we know today, which is peopled by sensitive scientists who are trying to improve mankind and fight disease. And we certainly welcome and invite every genetic miracle that we can have. But now there's a resurgence of the same impulse that caused eugenics in the first place. I'm speaking of newgenics. And this time, it will not be racial dogma and national flags. This time it will be globalization, profit, bottom line, corporate activity that determines who is fit and who is not fit to continue their existence. I give you an example of Burlington Northern Santa Fe engaging in secret testing of the DNA of its employees for the purpose of identifying who has a predisposition to carpal tunnel. The largest employer, and this was just to avoid workman's compensation, the largest employer in Canada canceling the death benefits in an automobile accident of a man of a certain ethnic background. They tracked his background and they realized he's from a group of people who have a ancestral and hereditary blood disease. And they said, well, he wasn't qualified for insurance in the first place. And so now there's a new move to exclude and to to surcharge individuals for insurance, to underemploy them, to non-employ them. Real estate, if you can't get insured and you can't get a job, then you can't get real estate. And legislators are seeing this as the new threat of discrimination in the 21st century. And anti-genetic legislation is already embraced by nations all over the world. And this legislation is in our Congress now, shortly after I speak. The first vote is going to take place in the Senate to adopt anti-genetic discrimination laws to stop gene lining. We all remember what redlining was. Now it will be gene lining. And so as we go into the dazzling 21st century of genetic genies, we hope that as many miracles as possible come our way, but we also ask that Wall Street and these corporations in our society look over their shoulder and make sure that genetics does not return from whence it came. Thank you. And now I'll take questions.
And in the interest of the taping, if you can stand up and ask your question loudly, we'd appreciate it.
And also, I would ask that because we have limited time, no speeches or commentaries, although many of you may be outraged, and I'll just try to answer as many questions as possible. Who has the first question? It's quite frequent that people are just stunned by this information because there's so much there. People are quite angry. Does anybody have a question? Okay, then I'll use my time to give you more information. A lot of people ask whether IBM was involved in this because, of course, my last book was IBM and the Holocaust, and I can tell you that IBM was not involved in American eugenics. That's one of the reasons American eugenics did not succeed at the level it sought to succeed. These family tracings and ancestral records were accumulated on Long Island and elsewhere on index cards and plain paper forms. And as a result of that, there were so many millions of forms and cards that by the time the punch cards came into greater use in about 1920s, there were too many to punch in. And so eugenics in America never achieved the ability to database, to cross-reference all the individuals, because eugenics, remember, wanted to do more than get rid of the individual. They wanted the entire family, and that was the key. And they could never track the family as they wanted to, simply because they lacked the database and capabilities that IBM could give them. By the same token, that's exactly why Nazi eugenics worked in Nazi Germany, because IBM went in there from the beginning and offered to organize the Holocaust, from the identification to the exclusion, to the confiscation, to the ghettoization, to the deportation, to the extermination of the Jews. They organized it in terms of databasing, in terms of systematic file keeping, record keeping, and that's why eugenics worked in Nazi Germany. Now, it's interesting that when I wrote IBM and the Holocaust, I thought that the famous SS race card that IBM developed for Hitler's SS was born in Nazi Germany. Actually, the prototype of this card was developed originally by IBM New York for the Carnegie Institution of Washington, In 1928, a half decade before Hitler came to power, as part of the 1928 Jamaica race crossing project as the first step along the way to wiping out the existence of all black people on Earth. We should also understand that while most Jewish people and my parents in the Jewish community, my parents who went through it, know that in the ghettos of Europe in the 40s, there would be what they called an action. That means an action. The Nazis would want 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 Jews to kill or to work or to experiment on, and they would just see someone crossing the street and they would grab them. Well, 10 to 20 years before this was going on, they were doing this in Virginia with white people. They were in the back roads of the foothills. The county wagon would cruise up and down. They would see a hillbilly just laying by the side of the road, or maybe fishing or having lunch. They would grab him. They would deem that he was genetically or eugenically unfit. They would find out where his cabin was back in the hills and hollers, get the entire family, maybe 10 or 12 people, commit them all to the institution for the feeble-minded, and forcibly sterilized them all. And this, is, of course, was officially sanctioned by the state of Virginia. Before I go on with more oppressive, shocking information, does anybody have an additional question? Okay, let's go on further. I'm glad I'm having the opportunity to give you the information. Margaret Sanger was a famous eugenicist. You have to understand, this was not just a movement of a couple of weird guys. This was entrenched national policy, and this was embraced and advocated by the power structure in the United States. All the presidents of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson, FDR, Harding, and in the case of Margaret Sanger, there's, of course, a huge controversy as to whether she is a racist or not a racist or anything of that nature, and the documentation shows that Margaret Sanger was not a racist, but she was a bigot. She was not a Nazi or any kind of a Jew hater, but she surrounded herself with the greatest Nazis and Jew haters in the United States. People so virulent, they got fan mail from Adolf Hitler. And she did want to save humanity, but only the top 30%. And so terms like human waste and human weeds populated her speeches and her publications as she tried to relieve the teeming masses by ensuring that they stopped teeming. Now, how did I get all this information? Well, I deployed about 50 volunteer and other research.
Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. I know this is dry and hard and painful. I apologize for that. And I apologize for being late, too, today. Kind of made the show go left. I would have had Amina here. I guess Pat's not feeling well. His tooth is probably hurting him. Did you talk to Pat, Deuce?
Yeah, I talked to him earlier.
Oh, yeah? What did he say? He was hurting? He's still hurting?
Hell yeah. Yeah, he said he wasn't. He said that he was in a lot of pain, man, from that tooth.
Yeah, that tooth pain is a motherfucker.
I had forgot that he said that he wasn't feeling well last night. You know, I totally slipped my mind. I ain't see him in the live, so I called him to let him know. And he was like, "Man, I'm in pain, bro." I was like, "Damn, my bad. You did say that last night." Yeah, I don't be trying to be forgetful, bro, but you know, you be having so much going on sometimes.
Yeah, so how was your day, man?
Man, it was pretty good, bro. I just really we waited at the plant for a little while for this trailer to be loaded, and I went to bed, and I pretty much slept and got up and hit the ground running, working. All right, bro. Yeah, I hit the ground running, working, and that was it. Other than that, pretty good, man. I'm getting today my Friday, so I'm looking forward to these off days.
Oh, okay. That's good, man.
I'll
Good
be
to
off
hear.
Saturday, Sunday.
And Pat probably got to force himself to take a rest. I wonder if he's still driving with all that pain. That's not a good idea. I be telling Pat he need to take some damn time off, man. Chill. Let me play this.
Does not protect people from prosecutors using it as evidence if it is. I knew that question was coming. I believe in the First Amendment. It's one of our most precious rights. However, the First Amendment does not protect people from prosecutors using it as evidence if it is. I knew that question was coming. I believe in the First Amendment. It's one of our most precious rights. However, the First Amendment does not protect people from prosecutors using it as evidence if it is. I knew that question was coming.
So she's talking about them using the rap lyrics, the song lyrics used in the indictment for Young Thug. So freaking sad. Oh, man. Sometimes, you can have it all and that's still not enough. I always ask the question, it's like, how much is enough? You like, I want to be a millionaire, and you get there, you're like, shit, I want to be a billionaire. I guess once you get to billionaire, then you're like, shit, I want to be a trillionaire. How much is enough? That's why I say, man, I think that the minimalist idea. Let me play this.
Where the Biden administration has been sending pallets of baby formula for illegal mothers and their babies, while American mothers and babies cannot find baby formula. This is completely unacceptable, and this needs to end now. I have one thing to say, and this is something that it's hard to even imagine, but we cannot trust our government. If you're an expecting mother, I strongly urge you to do the best you can to try to breastfeed your baby, because you cannot depend on this government. Pictures are emerging today from the border where the Biden administration has been sending pallets of baby formula for illegal mothers and their babies, while American mothers and babies cannot find baby formula. This is completely unacceptable, and this needs to end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. That is crazy.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
It's crazy. I don't understand. It seems like America's always doing that, bro. We run and aid all of these other folks in all of these other countries, but we fail our people here. Our government fail us. You got people. There's a shortage on baby formula. And Biden is sending another $40 billion to Ukraine. For what? Why are we constantly aiding Ukraine? When we got people over here that's suffering. Look at the price, the inflation here, and people going through struggling, people going to work every day, still can't make ends meet. And it's not people with low end jobs, people with good jobs. Like,
yeah, the pinch is in. We have to.
That should be some kind of help for us, But they bailing out all these other countries. They bailing all of these corporate entities out. Fucking corporate welfare in this country is ridiculous, dude. Why does a corporation that make billions a year need a $10 billion bailout when you got struggling citizens? Like, that shit don't make sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a shortage on everything, but we steady building out other motherfuckers.
It don't make sense.
You know, we're creating. All of a sudden, there's a shortage on supplies for America, but we're sending all kind of supplies and aids to Ukraine. What the fuck?
You
Really?
know, and the prices of everything is out of control. It's not just the gases. I mean, the gas. So what is it all? You know, what the hell?
Rent is up what by 32% or 23 to 30% or something like that. You know what I'm saying? The cost of food has went up by what 23%. You know what I'm saying? Like it's rough, bro. I don't mean to sound, and I know that my comments and what I'm saying probably sounds very harsh. You know what I'm saying? Because these people are suffering. But at the end of the day, it's a situation that I feel like their government calls. You know what I'm saying? But nobody speaks about the corruption that Ukraine has already been, you know, involved in before this. The underhanded shit they've been doing. Nobody speaks about, you know, the nobody speaks about the pretty much, the shit they've been doing to their people all of these years. But now all of a sudden Ukraine is so concerned about their people.
Or the United States is so concerned about Ukraine's people all
Yeah.
of a sudden.
Yeah.
Let me read this. It says, if I turned in a script where abortion was being banned and baby formula was out of stock, people would say it was unrealistic, but that's literally what's happening now. Ashley Nicole Black. I don't know who that is, but I think I recognize her face. She's an actor or something.
That's my home girl, man. Man hug, we kick it.
Let me read this way. It says, America is the fact that 3 editors have asked me to write about the formula shortage, but I can't do it because of a different crisis, which is that I have no child care for the same child I also don't have formula for. Man. This one, it says, there's a nationwide baby formula shortage. Instead of working for a solution where all babies can be fed, Republicans like Greg Abbott are trying to divide us by creating dangerous and false narratives and demanding that formula be denied for immigrant children. It's shameless. This one says, by the way, 89% of our baby formula market is dominated by 4 companies. When a market is this concentrated, it can't absorb supply shocks like the one brought on by the Similac recall. We need tougher antitrust enforcement to rein in the market power of corporations like Abbott. That's interesting stuff. I really didn't know that. I'm glad I don't have a small child right now. And here goes another example of why so many people don't want to have children. We talked about it, I think, yesterday.
Excuse me. So, yeah.
Like a whole nother reason to not want to have a child.
Yeah, just coffee. I got about 300 refills on here.
This one says scientists reverse death in astonishing feat by bringing dead eyes back to life.
No, I'm good, boss. I appreciate it, man. You too.
It says scientists were able to get the eyes of deceased people to respond to light.
How were they able to do that?
I don't know, but I don't think that is I don't think that says that it's alive just because it responded to light. Electrical impulses. Even after your head gets cut off, you don't die right away. So if they found a way to like give your brain oxygen and blood flow, you would still be alive. But I think that once you die, though, you know what I'm saying, there's no, well, in what was it, Star Trek? In Star Trek, how it worked was if you had just died, they might be able, like, depending on what it was, they might be able to bring you back. But it was a short time frame for that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it would be like, even if we had like all the super technology, you know, you can't really just, that's not nature. You can't make something dead alive. You can't do that. And I don't care what kind of technology you get. Damn, the water slide broke in half, 30 feet down. Fuck. That's another reason not to fucking take no fucking. I don't be wanting to go to carnival rides and shit like that no more now. Like, I don't trust nothing no more, bro. This says caught on camera, water slide snaps in half, throws people 30 feet down. Imagine you on a water slide and that bitch just collapse and you just fall.
Wouldn't be good.
People talking about, I'm going to get paid, I'm going to sue. Jazz probably fucked up if you live.
Vote, and sadly, the Senate failed to stand in defense of a woman's right to make decisions about her own body. And let's be clear, the majority of the American people believe in defending a woman's right, her choice to decide what happens to her own body. And this vote clearly suggests that the Senate is not where the majority of Americans are on this issue. It also
You don't even
makes
care.
clear that a priority
Kamala
for all who
Harris,
care
shut
about this
your
issue,
ass up.
a priority should be to elect pro-choice leaders.
It's controlled
at
opposition.
The local, the state, and the federal level. Because what we are seeing around this country are extremist Republican leaders
I get angry
who are
when I
seeking
see
to
her and Joe
criminalize
Biden.
and punish women for making decisions about their own body.
Yeah, controlled opposition, because if they wanted to do something about it, they could. They're not, because they don't want to.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right, let's ride, baby.
I'm about to wrap it. I'm getting tired.
I feel you, bro.
How much
Yeah,
more time
me
you
too.
got
Me
to
too.
roll?
I got a few hours, like 4 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, and I gotta
sitting
work
here getting a
tomorrow.
little winded myself too. I'm like, shit, guy. Normally, what pump me up is cutting the music on my little. I got these headphones called Shocks. They're bone conduction headphones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the thing that wakes me up, that keeps me up, is because with them, they send vibration down the jawline bone. That's how you hear. Like, they're amazing.
Yeah, check out some of my stuff on Spotify, bro. You listen to Spotify, right?
Yeah, I listen on there every now and again. Spotify.
That's the only one I know for sure that it's on. Yeah, man, it helped me out. Just jam some of that shit. It helped me out a lot. Just get some
Alright.
plays.
I got you.
Get some streams. The best way to find it is type in what real is, and it'll take you to one of the albums, and then you can go in through there. Because I was
okay.
trying to search it and it wouldn't pop up. It's KCE is what it is. And you type that in, and it's a whole list of KCE. So what real is the name of one of the albums I released. So you type that in on your Spotify search, and it'll pop up, and you'll see the King Chaka ENT and the logo, you know, in black and blue.
I got you. I
Yeah.
got you. Hey man, so what did Pat have an abscess on his tooth, or is it just the tooth is bad, needs to be
He said it's
pulled?
breaking apart and shit. So it's probably infected, and it's probably the gum. It's probably an infection in the gums. And that's what happens when, you know, and then the pieces of teeth become a foreign, what do you call it? It becomes a freaking invasive. I can't think now. I'm tired. But it becomes a problem. It causes infection when it's in the places that it's not supposed to be. And it happens a lot of times when your teeth breaks into pieces. it'll be somewhere it's
Yeah.
not supposed to be, and it's causing an infection because your body is gonna try to get rid of it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the thing, bro. Yeah, I just hope he can. That's the thing, man. Like, you can go to the ER, but a lot of times they don't have a lot of like ER dentists on staff.
Yeah, so you liable to be waiting there fucking forever.
Yeah, he may have to end up going to like a oral surgeon, the people
Yeah,
that
that's what
pull
I
like
would
your
do.
wisdom teeth and shit, you know. And they
Yeah,
before they just put like they'll go in like get them. Yeah, I remember that. I had a buddy of mine had a tooth that got real bad like that, broke apart, and they numbed that shit, but he could still feel some of it, bro. They had to go in and like scrub that part of the gum out, like get all of the
yeah,
bacteria and shit out of there and cleanse it, and
yep. I had to get
and the,
that done.
his
My
whole
wisdom
fucking
teeth,
right side of his face was swole, bro.
that
Like I
shit
mean, that
fucked
nigga,
up.
his head was swole like a motherfucker.
My wisdom teeth was growing in sideways and pushing on the teeth, the present teeth, permanent teeth, and fucking my shit up. So I had to get an oral because it was underneath the gums. So they had to go in and cut the gum open just to even get to the damn tooth to take it out. That ain't no little procedure because it's so far back it's hard to reach, you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, man.
So he just need to go. He needs to go to the dentist, bro.
He on the road.
Yeah, I think he's on the road last because then when he was talking last night, he said he was in between places where he could find a dentist. Make that delivery, and after that, need to be finding a damn dentist. And then he need to chill for like a week.
That shit hard sometimes, bro. Especially when you got shit, bills, people that's dependent on you and shit. It just sometimes you neglect yourself.
And that's what Pat is doing.
I know, bro, because I deal with that, myself,
We have to
Like there's
remember that we got to take care of ourselves. We can't even go to work tomorrow if our health fails. So how you gonna take care of your family then?
shit. You know how it is. Shit. What they say back in the day, you got a chest pain, drink a glass of water and eat an apple.
That's probably the best thing to do. But the thing is taking care of yourself. Maybe not working too much. Maybe making sure you're getting your rest.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Because ain't no substitute for rest. If your body needs to rest, you can't. There's nothing else. There's no supplement you can take. There's no vitamin or food or something you can do that's gonna give your body what it needs because your body needs to rest.
but you know how it is, especially and I can't just say men. There's women that same way too, especially women that are providing for their family themselves. A lot of times, bro, we don't sit down somewhere until we're forced. Like we get overexhausted to the point where our body is fighting against us and we get sick and we get put in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know, that saying is so true, bro. A man sacrifices everything for money, and then he sacrifices all of his money for his health. You know, like it's just it's a vicious it's a cycle, bro. And I think that's why, like for me, I know I can't help everybody, but close people, bro. Like I want to build something, some type of unity, some type of business, something, e-commerce, do something, bro. Create some money, and it's like, but the reason I don't really ever talk to anybody about it, bro, is because the people in our family, dude, it's like they just so negative. Oh, that takes money. That takes this, motherfucker. I know that, like, but people end a thought with a statement instead of putting actions behind it. And that's why I just like, you know what, like I just like, you know what, I'm gonna try to get this shit going on my own. You know, your own family, like they sitting there, they struggling. You know, bro, our family, ain't all there. They struggling, need extra money. You know, we help out from time to time and stuff. But you come to them with an idea that could get them better than where they at, and they don't even have to leave the comfort of their home. They just sit behind a computer, and it's like, oh, I can't do that. That shit just pisses me the fuck off. Like, that's the shit that make me feel like, bro, you really don't want no better. You don't want to hand up. You want to hand out.
Yeah, I might have to wrap it. I can't even think straight no more.
All right. Shit, what you cook? You cook that baby possum?
I don't fuck with them possums, bro. Them things scare me, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Them niggas be in the tree hissing and shit. They ugly too. Come at nighttime, climbing the tree.
Then they pack rabies, I heard.
Yeah. It just looked dirty as hell. Look like a big ass rat that climbs a tree. Like, I just don't want to fuck with that thing. I don't want it to touch me. It's not that I'm really scared of them. It's just that I don't want it to touch me. Like, it's so gross to me. Now, I cooked some boneless, skinless chicken thighs.
That's my shit right there.
Yeah, I just kind of sauteed them and made some sandwiches out of them.
Made some sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
Oh, okay. I feel that. Ain't nothing wrong with that shit. It's a meal.
Yeah, I just wanted something quick anyway because I was doing the show. I mean, I would have, if I had time, I did this while I was doing the show. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wrap it. I'm tired as hell. I apologize for being so late.
That's all good, bro. Shit. That's all good.
Hopefully I'll be on time tomorrow. So you gonna be at the house tomorrow?
That's my plan. I'm hoping so.
Okay.
I know for sure I'll be there Saturday and Sunday, so I'm hoping to be able to. They would let me go a little early on Friday tomorrow, so get to the house and kind of chill out. I need to get a haircut. I need to get my face cleaned up, bro, because like my beard don't grow in full, but I've never actually let it grow. This is the fullest I've ever seen it. Like, I guess if I was to leave it on my face for like another few weeks or so, it probably would come in full and be,
My shit won't grow in for shit.
Yeah, I think that's light. What they say, that's light people problem. But nah, bro, yeah. So that's what I'm hoping for, man. Get to the house and chill out, cause it's been busy. It's been busy, bro.
Well, get you some rest, bro. Shit, if you don't join the show, I ain't gonna be mad. Cause I know how it is with the time with the family.
Yeah, I'll probably try to hop on tomorrow, because I know Saturday I probably won't be able to. I'm actually gonna take the kids. We're gonna be at the pool, do like a little pool party. We'll probably be out there super late.
That's what's up, man.
I ain't spending no money going nowhere, bro. We're gonna be right there enjoying the amenities of the apartments.
There you go. Shit. Shit. Take some pictures, man. All right, y'all.
I need to. All right, bro. Peace and love, man.
Y'all have a good night. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for listening. And see y'all tomorrow.
Peace.
Peace.